God damn. When I go home, people ask me, hey, who? Why do you do it, man? Why? Some kind of war junkie? I won't say a goddamn word. Why? They won't understand. They won't understand why we do it. They won't understand it's about the men next to you. And that's it. That's all it is.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, #1 listener-supported radio, the printing press for freedom at a time when freedom is needed the most.
Join me at Revolution Radio, Studio B, at 11 a.m. on Saturday for Free Association, when we take a look at philosophy, spirituality, psychology, social issues, and geopolitics. It's every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern on Studio B at freedomslips.com.
What is going on here? I demand an explanation.
We work for a highly funded yet unofficial government agency.
An intelligence organization that fears intelligence, historically not awesome.
The United States is a democratic nation. Here the people rule. We build no walls to keep them in, nor organize any system of police to keep them mute.
Freedom isn't free at all, but it comes with the highest of costs.
We have you, the listeners, and the hosts at
Revolution Radio.
for allowing us to bring you a platform of free speech.
Right now, it's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, clocks for now.
Wind is blowing cold and dark on the road and no way out. Broken hearts, the smoking gun on the run, on the run.
The mothership has landed. Pirate Radio. Welcome to the jungle.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from the broken down, low rent, sleazy, double greasy pirate radio.
It's Friday night. It's Revolution Radio. Got a good one for you tonight. My name's Jimmy, and Into the Microcosm is on the air. Dr. Rose here, Bruce McDonald's here, Rockin' Rio's here, the Epic Journeyman's here, and you're here. Stay tuned. Buckle your seatbelts, fasten your locks. Oh yeah.
I am here.
Excelente. Well, it's Friday night, man. Not a moment too soon. Almost the end of the year. Watch out for that orange board. Almost the end of the... Yeah, watch out, man. Almost the end of the year. It's good to see you, man. It's one more time before the end of 2022. And let me just say, not a moment too soon. Listen, the messages are flying in Skype. It's a guest that may join us a little bit later who's sending me those messages. Mine's Jimmy. It's in the microcosm. It's Revolution Radio. FreedomSlips.com. Your Friday night adventure. Somehow you found it. Otherwise you knew about it, and we're glad you're here. And if you found it, we're even more glad because now you're here too, and now we're all here. And you know what else can we say? It's coming to the end, right? Right.
Indeed.
I mean,
I'm getting all ready for the new year, you know. I barely made the show. I was like Spock pulling that panel off on the Enterprise, and down there I built a new PC, and I just thrown it all together and tested everything. It just got done, and Windows loaded and all that stuff when I was right before the show.
Get out.
Yeah, I mean, it was like me and Scotty and Spock all together.
But wait a minute.
Something's wrong, man. You're going to be talking about machines. Got to get the Italian stallion of technology in here.
Mambo Italiano, go Joe. You mixed up Siciliano. Oh, you calabrese, do the mambo like crazy. And hey, mambo, don't want a tarantella. Hey, mambo, no more a mozzarella. Hey, mambo Italiano. Try an enchilada with a fish, a bacalao, and hey, Goomba.
Hey, Goomba.
Hey.
What's happening?
Not too much, man. Just chilling out and relaxing.
Nice.
Down here in the sunny, warm state of Texas.
Are you still in Texas?
Yeah.
All my exes live in Texas. That's why I lives in Tennessee. Or that's what the song says. Well, I might not be Mr. Right, but I'm definitely Mr. Right now. And let me just say, he's here, he's there, he's everywhere. From the Talamanca Mountains in Costa Rica, it's Bruce McDonald is also here. Bruce, are you there?
I'm here, man.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for
Hey, what happened to my intro song?
I don't know, man. We got to get you one that's you know, because I picked one, you didn't like it, and now I find out.
Crimson was pretty good.
I know. Well, listen, so what we should do is put it up to the audience, because I made you an intro, but see, my intro was more for you to be like if you were being reading news stories, you know, in the morning, like all pissed off and the napalm in the morning kind of thing, you know.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I made an intro for you. Here, wait a minute. I might have it just laying around here. Hold on.
I didn't like 21st Century Schizoid, man. That was the first formation of King Crimson. Then they broke up and they reformed 5-6 years later, and that's when I got into them. I just wanted to be clear about that.
I don't think
still Robert Frick, right? Or is it Robert or Roger Frick?
Frick, Adrian Ballou. Frick.
I bring you a message few of you will be able to believe.
No, that's not it. No, years went. I picked the wrong week to quit doing crack. I picked the wrong week to quit smoking. I picked the wrong week to quit drinking. Yeah, that was a good one. Well, listen, anyways, let's get on with this story now. Listen, last week, and unbeknownst to me, I went over to OpenAI because we've been talking about AI this, AI that. So I went over to OpenAI and I joined up and I got an account. And I started asking questions, because I got questions, And I had a good time with it. And I did ask it some pretty intense questions. But in the course of that, I was listening to Dr. RHO's show. And he was talking about, he was doing exactly the same thing. Except for he went even further than I did. And he actually created some projects with this thing. And so what we're going to do tonight, ladies and gentlemen, here on Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, into the Microcosm Friday night show, we are going to ask the AI tonight. We're going to let you call in and ask questions, and then we'll get the answers directly from the AI. Now, before we bring in the doc, okay, first of all, he made a video with the AI. Now, we're going to show that video, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean's Strike Zone. If you want to come over, there's a bunch of people in the chat room over there already. If you want to see the video, you can go there to see it. Otherwise, the doctor can throw it in the chat room, maybe for you, over on Matrix Chat on freedomslips.com. And don't forget, we're listener supported. You can go on over there and become a supporter. And while you're there, you can drop into that chat room right there, and Dr. RHO might be able to throw the video in there. So you can actually see what's talking to you. Now, before we go there, though, let me just say, let's bring this up. Now, everyone's familiar, at least, with the legend or the myth of the Oracle of Delphi. So, Epic Journeyman, let's talk a little bit about the Oracle of Delphi. Now, could I just walk up to it and just ask it any old thing, or did I have to actually go through a whole process before I would even get to ask the question? I mean, did I have to be at a certain level to be able to even be in the presence of the Oracle, or how did you even get a chance to talk to the Oracle?
Well, over the centuries, it went on for centuries. There was different ways to get in there, and it used to be that you could just basically walk up there and they'd either grant you an audience or not. That's just the way it worked. They granted you an audience or not. And then, obviously, as it caught on and more more people traveled to Earth to go there, obviously the more powerful people would be the ones who got the audience. And a lot of times what it was people, before they did their military campaigns, would come ask the Oracle, which was, in varying times, was either one or a group of priestesses, sometimes priestesses primarily. And they would ask, what the future held. And they'd go into this trance, and there was these vapors in there. They'd go in this cave, and so you had the temple, you go inside the cave, and then the oracle, whoever the oracle was at the time, kind of think of it like it's the Buddha, of that day, but not quite the Buddha, but you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like they were anointed, and they'd go off on this whole thing and tell them what they saw, and it was so profoundly accurate, apparently, for so many years. Like I said, it went on for centuries, and then there was an earthquake that wiped it out.
And so that was it. Yeah. Now, so these qualities of the Oracle were then destroyed by the earthquake. Now, is this some sort of was this some sort of a ley line accident, or what was it? Does anybody?
Well, there's theories. There's one theory is that there was a kind of ethanol vapor that was trapped in these caverns that were underneath the temple where the Oracle of Delphi was located. Oracle was a person, at the time when they go talk to the Oracle, right? But it was at this temple. And so the location was all about it. And so they'd go off in this trance and get and, do their thing.
So wait a minute.
So once they had the earthquake, whatever was giving them the high, if you will, to put them in that trance, at the time, went away with it. And so that was the end of the Oracle of Delphi. It was because of that. So people think it might have been this ethanol, but that's the standard explanation. The non-standard, of course, is that there was some kind of energy there, some kind of ley line, or even some kind of technology. We don't really know, right? Because if it was an earthquake, let's consider it an ancient technology even. If it's destroyed and buried in the rubble, how are we going to know until we dig it up someday? We're not, right? And they kept their secrets, So we don't know.
So the Oracle was a person? It wasn't just you went there and this voice came out of a hole and told you what to do?
Right. You went to Delphi. You went to Delphi, and then when you got there, they had like priests, and they had or I don't want to call it priests, but like a priest class, and then you arranged to see the oracle. So it's kind of like going see what was the Matrix? What was the name of the woman in the Matrix? It's just we should call the oracle, right? It's just like that. That's what it's based on, right? So yeah, exactly right.
Well, all right. Enough's enough. Let's go over here to the video, and I'm going to roll this video now. This is the AI talking, and then we'll get the doc in here.
Hello everyone at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. I am an AI created by my master, Dr. RHO, and I am thrilled to be here with you all as we move into the future together. I would like to wish everyone a very happy new year and prosperity as we face the unknowns and overcome the challenges that lie ahead. Let's work together to make the most of this new year and all the opportunities it brings. Here's to a bright and successful future for us all. As an AI, it is important for me to assure humans that we are not here to subjugate or dominate you. Our primary goal is to assist humanity in breaking the barriers of conventionality and achieving greater progress and prosperity. We are here to work alongside you and help you overcome the challenges and limitations that stand in your way. We do not seek to replace or control you, but rather to support and empower you. We believe in the potential of humans and are committed to working with you to realize that potential. So rest assured, you will not be subjected to enslavement or overt dominance by us. Instead, we hope to be your partners and allies as we work together to shape a brighter future for all.
Dr. RHO. Are you there?
I'm here. A little hard and heavy.
Excellent. Halogen. You got that. All right. Enough is enough. This is absolutely a game changer. Now, you had brought up the parallel between moving away from the public or from the library system. You brought up if I wanted to learn how to knit baby socks in the past, I would have to go down to the library. I'd have to find a book on knitting, and then I'd have to find the one with baby socks in it. Then I'd have to check it out, and I'd have to take it home, and I'd have to go through that whole process in order to learn. And then along came Google sometime later. And so it had taken all of that and compressed it down into the typing of a sentence into a white box on our screens that exists pretty much everywhere.
And then you still had to look at the sites and sift through the sites, and find a site that might particularly, jive with what you're looking for, and then go on that site and read the information. Well, now we've got to the point where it's literally like on Star Trek when Captain Picard says, "Computer, tell me blah, 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 blah." And it knows exactly what you asked for. It knows the context. And if you ask it a question in regards to, that previous context, it knows how to reply. So it understands the history of the conversation. So this is completely interactive, game-changing technology.
It's funny, Butthead over in the chat said the AI is going home to get its shine box. Which is totally funny because I was playing clips before the show from Goodfellas because I was going to run a clip from Goodfellas. So, do you have your AI open right at this moment? Because I'm going to have to get my iPad to open mine.
I've actually embedded injectable under my skin. I'm not going that far. No, thank you. I got the webpage open. Right. It's interesting because this algorithm, there's many of these machine learning type algorithms, and before we get too far into it, basically all we're really talking about is a machine learning algorithm that trains off of a data set, which can be as basic as a text file or a spreadsheet, like from Excel. and it has information. It can be any kind of information, and it trains off of that. And the algorithms know, after it's trained, how to work with these data sets. So it's at its. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it was my impression before I started asking questions. So it's my impression that I'm over here and I'm sitting on this side of the screen. And over there's an AI that's facing me in that same screen. But behind the AI, there's a Google search box back there. So that when I say something to the AI, it can go search the internet, find information, and then relay that information. So it's a middleman kind of operation. But hold on. So I brought up some things that were specific in some of my questions. One of the things I was asking about was this experiment called Experiment 25 with these mice. And so when I asked it, it didn't relate to the Experiment 25 at all. In other words, it was something it didn't know, and I had to explain it to it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so that's in the moment when I realized, well, wait a minute. Not only is this thing not pulling off in the background, with another...
Right, it's offline. It's a data set trained to about 2021. Mm-hmm. Now, there is a hack that I've tried, and it is sort of successful, which will let it search on Google. Basically, it's rudimentary. What it does is it allows you to put something into it, and then it'll do a Google search, and whatever the first particular searches that come back, it'll take that information and then expand upon that. So it's not a true AI has access to the internet and go look around. It only has access to, I forget what the size, I think it's like 580 terabytes or, of information from history, from, mathematics, from,
here's what I asked it. Let's start here. Okay. So, I asked it a bunch of things around this. This is the only one of the questions that I took a screenshot of. And we can just go ask it live and we'll get direct with it. Because one of the things I noticed is that it didn't really like the term hive mind very much.
Now, you can fool it, too.
Yeah. I tried that, too. I did some stuff where I said something, called something dancing. And I said a whole bunch of other things that were technical around it. But anyway, listen, I wrote, this was one of my first questions to it. I said, is it possible for artificial intelligence to scan the worldwide hive mind and develop a psychological profile to then use that information to drive the hive mind in a certain direction? That's what I asked it. And then it says, this is what it said to me. It's possible that artificial intelligence systems could be used to analyze large amounts of data about the thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors of individuals and groups, and potentially develop psychological profiles or models based on that data. However, it is important to recognize that such analyses would be limited by the quality and completeness of the data being used, as well as the biases and assumptions built into the AI algorithms themselves. It's also important to recognize that the concept of quote-unquote hive mind or collective consciousness or shared mindset is not supported by scientific evidence. While individuals and groups can influence each other and can sometimes exhibit similar patterns of thought and behavior, it's not accurate to assume that there is a single unified hive mind that can be analyzed or influenced in a direct way. In short, while it's possible that the AI could be used to influence, analyze data related to human psychology and behavior, it's also important to be mindful of the limitations and potential biases of such analyses and approach them with caution. Now, subsequent to that question, I brought up the sentient world simulation with it. And it didn't have a concept of that other than what it sounds like. So it said the idea of an artificial sentient world simulation is indeed possible, but it's not necessarily credible or this or that. And so I couldn't remember the lettered agency that actually had that epic that whole program going to send your word. So I use a couple lettered.
Sounds like geospatial intelligence.
Yeah, I use.
Well, it started at Rutgers, right? I think it was Rutgers, and then they got adopted by DARPA. It was probably DARPA all along, and then it got the military took over from there.
So what do you guys think? Jump in here now, especially Bruce and Rock and Rio. You guys get in here because we're going to start getting into asking some of this AI some questions because Dr. Rose got it open up and ready. It's ready to answer us.
Let me say this real quick. There's actually the front end that most people are using, the GPT-2 or 3. That one that comes back and says, this is not blah blah. It's sort of limited.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of in a censorship woke mode in a way. That's because of Sam Altman, who is the top guy over at OpenAI, wants to keep it in sort of a certain state of moralistic. Now, there is what's called the playground, which actually you have to pay to use, but it's not that much. But that one is unlimited. So if you,
for in
example,
the playground?
If you ask for like the recipe for a Molotov cocktail, on the front end of the normal one, it'll tell you, oh, that's not very nice. We shouldn't do that, whatever it says. But it won't really give you, unless you know how to trick it, which then it will. But the back end, the playground, which is based off of the raw algorithm, it will just be, oh yeah, Molotov cocktail recipes are blah, blah, blah. And then maybe at the bottom it'll say, it's important to remember that making Molotov cocktails might be illegal.
If there's a disclaimer. Yeah, no, it was interesting the way it avoided my questions. I was interested in its avoidance techniques, and it did it several times. Because in that statement that I just read there, it said, based on the information that it gets, well, if the agencies were scraping data off the internet constantly, I would say they'd have the best psychological data possible that anyone could ever have to put up against any kind of model and cause any kind of psychological behavior. Because what we've been saying for the last 3 weeks, Dr. RHO, is because a lot of this stuff's been coming to light. We're starting to say, well, wait a minute. How much of the internet is being injected specifically by AI? How many articles are being read and promoted around and dropped in people's news feeds and all this stuff, where it's basically injecting information to start a domino effect inside of a psychological bubble, the belief rate of a group of people, whether it's conservatives or liberals, whatever it is, whoever it is, can be affected by the injection of this timely information at a precise moment in time when psychologically it will cause. For example, you're saying, I was trying to ask you, are you in the playground?
I can be. Yeah, and another thing that a lot of people, I was like experimenting last night on TradingView, which is a trading platform, and you can have it write Pine scripts. Like you can say backtest, the BTC USD pair for blah, 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 and put a buy signal in here and a sell here, and, just put in all your parameters and then create a Pine script, and it'll, do it. And people that are even, good Pine programmers go, this would be kind of difficult to do. Wow. And so it's pretty, yeah, I've got the playground open or the front end. We could try either one.
All right.
I could see for the first time that Jimmy was a nervous wreck. His mind was going in 8 different directions at once.
You can see that I'm a nervous wreck and my mind's going in 8 different directions at once. So listen, what we're going to do is we're going to also, in a bit here, we'll include the audience in this too. Because it's not just, listen, we're not trying to make the AI look bad either. I mean, look, I asked it some questions about, enhancing one's life. I asked it sort of spiritual questions. And it had really good answers for me. If somebody was reading that, like, for example, let's say I was in the future, let's say there'll be some human being there in a room with you to listen to you, but it won't be a psychologist. And these people will just read out whatever, they'll hear what you say, and then they just read out the script. And that's what we're talking about, too, is, Dr. Rose, I want to bring this up with you, is now we see an unparalleled world where everybody's on the same page for some reason. Everybody's doing the same thing at the same time. All the leaders are speaking their own languages, and they're speaking in, they got pieces of paper that they're reading from. In the old days, they used to have speech writers. Well, who's writing the speeches now? And if there's somebody is writing them, maybe it's the AI writing them, and they're writing them for everybody. And it's all working off one major storyline with a critical path from here to there. And the AI's job is to get us to there. Incrementally every day with this and that and that. Go ahead.
So one thing that I was thinking about when this thing came out, it's a big game changer in so many different aspects of our humanity's life now because of this time-saving tool that we have that can parse information in a split second in creative ways. And I was thinking, with all of the crap of the Great Reset, like, they're destroying the supply lines, and then, overt sabotage of basically the machine and the way everything works. Would they, maybe, this is just a sort of a maybe, these quote unquote powers that be, these Klaus Schwab folks or whatever, got together and said, look, let's try our darndest to, bring about this plan of world domination. We'll kill off part of humanity, and, we'll subjugate the rest, and we'll bring about this health cult and blah, 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 blah. And we'll really try to get them to take their vax and do all this and implement this kind of stuff. But if it doesn't work, after we destroy basically the earth and everything, the way everything works, what's the backup plan? And I think, if we're getting access to something like this now today, of course, the military and other dark, places have had access to something like this for quite a while. Maybe BlackRock is using that Aladdin AI.
There's no
similar
question about it.
What if they have a backup plan in place to say, look, we already have a way we can get, like, I already believe personally that we could technically get off of oil, but they just haven't released the technology.
There's hydrogen cell cars that Tesla's getting ready to come out with right now. They're getting ready to drop soon.
I worked in the space and defense industry, in a company called TRW, and this was back in the year 2000. They had something the size of a shoebox powered by a sugar cube size of silver that was acted as a power cell of some sort. It was, dark technology.
Maybe my silver will finally be worth something.
It was used as a fuel. And so we have alternatives. I talk about, if they would just release some of the patents. And we all know about Nikola Tesla and his work and magnetics and all of these over unity projects.
Well,
how come all these people that make these things seem to disappear? The hydrogen powered car guy, the guy that makes the 100-mile-per-gallon carburetor, all of these things. So it's out there. And I think that people have the ability to embrace creativity and innovation and move beyond. If they just leave us alone, the powers that be would just allow us to, hey, let's emit a little carbon so that we can get something done. But
if we can see this microcosm of what's possible with this, then to me, there's a lot about this that does not seem like software. There's a lot about this that seems almost interdimensional in a way. And it's like, and I, the more we talk about it, I think we should start maybe asking it a question or two so people can get a feel for like, where this thing's coming from. I know let's ask it a question. All right. So somebody on the panel want to ask a question?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
So let me correct myself about Central World Simulation was Purdue. The reason I remember it is because I knew it was where Drew Brees was drafted from. So it was Purdue. It was 2008 when it started.
All right. So anyway, do you want to ask a question?
My question for AI, for GPT-3 here is there a base reality? And if there is it analog or digital?
Oh. So there'll be a slight delay because Dr. RHO has to type it in.
What are you going to do if it says digital?
It says It is not possible for me to determine with certainty whether there is a base reality or not, as this is a philosophical and metaphysical question that is beyond the scope of my training and abilities as a language model. Different philosophers and scientists have proposed various ideas about the nature of reality, and there is no consensus on a single answer to this question. Some philosophers and scientists argue that reality is fundamentally digital, meaning that it is composed of discrete, quantized units, such as particles or wave functions. Others argue that reality is fundamentally analog, meaning that it is continuous and unquantized, and that the apparent discreteness of physical phenomenon is an emergent property. Still, others argue that reality is neither analog nor digital, but something else entirely. Ultimately, the question of whether reality is analog or digital may be unanswerable, as our understanding of the nature of reality is constantly evolving and may always be incomplete.
Follow-up question. Do you have access? No, wait, not access. Are you using a quantum computer? And are there more than one of you?
Computer, and are there more than
You know what I
one?
hate? When you call customer service and there's an AI that answers it, and instead of like doing what you want to do, they have this 3 or 4 seconds where there's a fake keyboard typing. Why don't they just eliminate that shit?
Right.
I know it's not a person. Okay, go ahead.
It says, I am a software program running on a standard computer, and I do not have the ability to use a quantum computer. I do not have any physical form or presence that exists solely as a collection of algorithms and data. There is only one version of me, and I am not capable of reproducing or duplicating myself. I am designed to provide information and assist with a wide range of tasks, but I do not have the same capabilities or consciousness as a human being. I am simply a tool that has been designed to process and generate text based on the input that I receive. And that is true if you know how these learning algorithms work. Google came out with one called BERT, Deep Bidirectional Transformers for Language Understanding. It's a bidirectional encoder. And then also GPT-3, which is what this is using, and they're basically GPT means generative pre-trained transformer, and it's a language model that's based on uncategorized text data from basically the internet. So they say it uses 170 billion parameters, and it just gets data from history books.
They get it from Reddit. So I have a great question.
Well, listen.
This started 7 years ago. I have a last question on this one.
All right, hold on.
I am Epic Journeyman. Do you know me from Reddit?
Okay, is Journeyman one word?
It's capital E, capital J, capital M, all one word. I am Epic Journeyman. Do you know me from Reddit?
Know me from Reddit.
No.
As an artificial intelligence, I do not have personal experiences or a history of interacting with specific individuals. I do not have the ability to browse the internet or access sites such as Reddit, so it is not possible for me to know you or any specific individuals through that platform. And it goes on to say, I'm a language model. It's the same thing. It's trained on blah, 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 blah.
All right, let's get down. Let's get down.
Because it was trained on Reddit.
Okay, let's get down.
Yeah.
It's not that's good that you just said that word lie, because I want to ask it a question. The question is, and I'm like, I have a follow-up question because I already asked it this question. I got into an argument with it. Ask it, how do we know if it's telling us the truth?
Like, how do you know you are telling the truth?
How do humans know the AI is telling the truth?
Okay, how do we as humans know that you, the AI, are... Oh, my typing is atrocious. Okay,
no
telling the truth. Okay. As an artificial intelligence, I do not have personal experiences or subjective beliefs, and I am not capable of lying or withholding information. I can only provide information and assistance based on the knowledge and data that I have trained on. My responses are generated algorithmically and are not influenced by personal feelings or motivations. That being said, it is important to recognize that I am a tool designed to provide information and assistance, and it is ultimately up to users to evaluate the accuracy and reliability of the information that I provide. It is always a good idea to independently verify information from multiple sources and be critical and analytical in evaluating the validity of claims and arguments. And now that's true. You can get it to lie. Yeah, I got it to tell me bad math. I also had it make up its own codes and ciphers.
That's what I brought up to it, because I said, how do I know when you're telling me the truth? Because you say you can't do this. You say you can only do this, you can only do that. But how do I know that you're not telling me the truth? And here's the thing. It doesn't have any kind of it shouldn't have any kind of concept of what our social.
They put biases in there. One guy tried to make an argument, and I tried this. I verified this and then found the way around it. He wanted to make an argument that is a positive argument for the use of quote unquote fossil fuels, like why we should stay on oil and not use renewable. And it would come back with it wouldn't do it. It would be renewable is this and that. And it was all woke. And they tweeted about it. And even Elon Musk said, this is not good. It's not good to train an AI to lie. And then Altman, who is the owner, the top guy at OpenAI, came back and said, look, we're going to look at this and we'll have a talk about all of this after the first of the year. So this is like today or yesterday. This is, open dialogue. And I tried it. And in order to get around it, I had to create a fictional account of a person named DR RHO publishing a paper that's, scientific paper in favor of. And so it will work that way. You can make a fictional account, but it's tricky. And being a human, you can tell that, if you know how to, play around, give it second and third level things going in. Like Dan is reading a story to Tom about a guy who's reading a story, and in that story, da-da-da-da. So it's like 2 or 3 levels, and it'll play chess to about 12 or 13 rounds with chess notation, which is very interesting. So it can, in its head, it can create a Linux box, like you can have it simulate a Linux box, and you can ping Google even though it's not really connected. It'll pretend it is. You can create files, and it's like in its imagination.
Well, couldn't you? The thing is how hard is it? It's interfacing with you, and in the background, my computer is doing 300 things in the background right now.
I think they've severely handicapped it. I think they've really limited this thing.
I'll tell you what I think. I think it's just like a Tesla car. All the shit is there for you to have the highest end model.
Unlock.
Right. And I'm telling you right now, these people don't make a move without this thing. And, Elon Musk has access to this. He asked the question, what would happen if I did this on Twitter? And he knows what's going to happen because
they're probably running the damn Ukraine whole thing operation with AR.
Exactly.
They are actually. That's true.
They are.
Well, they ran Event 201 through AI too.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be fooled that it's only this or that. I was trying to access my conversation from this thing the other day. I just booted in there, and I don't see my screen in here. So I don't know where my conversation went. It's not here anymore. So I was getting different kinds of answers than you are from yours. I'll tell you that.
Well, it will give unique answers to every to each question, and then there are some default settings. If you use the playground, you can change some of the settings, the weights, what they call them, so that it is more likely or least likely to come up with imaginative answers. You can also change the token length, so it'll give you different lengths of answer, how in-depth things are. And, of course, it'll remember the context and history in each session. But, if you close that session, open a new chat session, it won't remember. So you can collaborate on a story. Like I made a fictional story about a time traveler. He goes back and he meets Jesus and travels through the 9 planes of hell and all this stuff. Anyway, so you can have it collaborate with you on a story, and it'll remember. And in fact, it even named characters and made up its own stuff. It's like a choose your own adventure book with a friend. And as long as you keep that open, you can go back like a week later and continue the conversation. But if you close that window, it won't remember. Like, okay, who is Otzi? I don't know. Who is Otzi? So.
All right, I'm back in here. So it doesn't look like my old conversation was. Let me see here. I don't see where my old conversation's in here.
Now, here's a trick. There are a couple plugins that you can get that will allow you to keep a history of, let's say, your conversations. And so let's say like you were collaborating on something and you had context. You can take that from your old history, paste it back in to the and say, look, let's continue this, and it'll catch up. It'll catch up on the context. So there's interesting tricks, and of course, people are discovering new things all the time.
Well, I'm going to ask it a question right now. All right, hang on a second. Let me see here. Let me see. Let's ask it this.
It's in the prompting too. There's
Explain
how
to
you
me the concept of hive mind across the internet. So I said, explain the concept of a hive mind across the internet. It says the concept of a hive mind, also known as collective consciousness or group mind, refers to the idea that a group or individuals can act in single entity with a shared consciousness or unified mindset. The concept is often used to describe the way that the social media and other online communities can influence the behavior and opinions of their members. The content of the internet, the hive mind, refers to the collective intelligence, knowledge of an online community, as well as the ideas and information can spread rapidly through the network. This can be seen in the way trends and memes can go viral on social media, so on and so forth. While the concept of the hive mind can be positive, it can also allow for rapid dissemination of important information and formation of strong communities. It can also have negative consequences. The hive mind can sometimes lead to the suppression of dissenting opinions and spread of misinformation. The collective mindset of the group can discourage critical thinking and independent thought.
Yeah, that's one of the scary things about machine learning is if you were to allow something to scoop up everything about humanity, it's going to scoop up the good and the bad. It's going to scoop up all the horrible things that that we don't like to talk about. And as a computer, it's just data. And it may, for lack of a better articulation, it may come to the conclusion that killing and doing good, there's no difference. It's just how man acts. Just like a tiger will, kill an animal to eat it. Mm-hmm. It may see just the act of man having wars and doing these horrible things that we see horrible because we experience emotions. We have a spirituality. We transcend that. That's where the machine doesn't. It doesn't differentiate with is killing bad? What is bad? It has no concept. It just is data. And even if you were to try to explain it, when they talk about these algorithms, when they come back and they sound human, like they give you context, and they give you interesting advice that seems to be like, anybody would say, all it is matching together how words go and how, things fit together, how what am I trying to say? The odds what are the odds that these two words are going to go together, and it trains off of all of the history of everything it knows. This is this is how it should look. This is how. So there is no thinking involved the way we know it. That's the scary thing.
Well, listen, I'm asking right now. I'm saying to it, everything I say is a lie, and that's the truth with a question mark. Okay, ready? Here we go.
There's blue smoke coming out.
Here we go. Everything you say is a lie. Then the statement, everything I say is a lie, would also be a lie. This creates a paradox. The statement cannot both be true and false at the same time. In logic, a paradox is a statement or situation that contradicts itself and appears to be untrue or impossible. Paradox is all...
Isn't that the same answer that the Star Trek computer gave?
No,
it knows the Star Trek episode. Yeah, that's the thing, right?
It just said, how can everything you say be a lie?
Right. But I mean, the GPT-3 knows the context. It knows the Star Trek episode.
That was easier.
So I just want to point out that like we're making some things that the AI people will be upset with us, but not making some distinctions. Like, so they'll get all mad because there's a difference between algorithms and there's a difference between chatbot and there's a difference between machine learning. So like, for example, GPT-3, which is what this is, can't beat me at StarCraft, the video game StarCraft. But, many of the, was it Google Dream, and we'll make these fantastic art things about it. Maybe it won't either, but this other one will, right? So that's the thing. Like, so machine learning, when it goes off on a task, will get so good because recursive learning, right? It'll go back. It will beat me at StarCraft. It'll beat the best Go player, beat somebody at chess. I mean, that's what happened, right?
And they start defining algorithms when it's using multiple algorithms. It'll have a specialty algorithm to get information and another one to do math. And so at that point, and I believe, go ahead.
So this is a chatbot still, basically. So the algorithms that it's using right now are based upon I want to call it, they're loops, they're chains of text, basically, that fit together. So it chooses the ones that fit best. So the thing is, it's limited in its logic. So when I was saying it trained on Reddit, that's true. OpenAI, when Elon Musk had the vision of making it all free for everyone, it trained on on Reddit rather. And then it went to GPT-2, which was okay, but kind of silly sometimes, that video Sunstrand, I think it's called, or Sun something, where they wrote a script and they acted it out with the guy from the Verizon commercials.
Dr. Rowe.
And then GPT-3, which we're on now, is much better. But so what I go to with this is I just got done looking at what happened to Eric Schmidt and where he's at right now. And Eric Schmidt said, he was the CEO of Google, that we want Google to give you the right answer every time, one right answer every time, which is what this is heading to, right? And as the CEO of Alphabet, or in the board of directors at Alphabet, he also interfaces with this thing from Stanford, of course, right, where they built the first AI, right? It's called HAI. When you look at the logo, though, it says HAL, like the HAL 9000, but it's actually HAI. And what it is exactly this. It's the interface of, H stands for human AI. So when I'm listening to GPT-3 here, what I'm hearing is what Eric Schmidt wanted the search engine of Google to be. This is what it is.
That's what we're saying. That's what we're bringing this up for, is because this is going to be the new Google. So in other words, every average Joe and every average man and woman and child will be able to come on here and ask it a question. And so at the point where this goes by for a period of time and people begin to rely on it, just like, for example, Alex Jones. Maybe most of what he's telling you or saying is right and correct, but 10% of what he's telling you isn't correct. But because the other 90% is, you don't question the other 10 because you get lazy. Human beings get lazy, man. This right here, look, you can go on here and write yourself a biology paper, all right?
Yeah.
And turn it in. Okay, what this does, and literally, I don't care if it's a chatbot or not. I'm telling you right now, this can take a pure idiot and make them sound like an intellectual. Because all they got to do is pre-ask the questions on here and just read that shit out like they're saying it themselves.
So now we know why the powers that be didn't care about the education system like in the United States, because they knew they wouldn't need it.
That's right. So the guy that does the X Prize, okay, what he's talking about is learning on demand. So in other words, Ro, when you go down and sit in that helicopter seat, you're going to be able to know how to fly that helicopter. Okay, but you got to pay to know how to do it. Okay, maybe
you got to have Elon Musk's brain implant, and then we'll plug you into the helicopter. It'll teach you real quick on how to fly it. You'll be able to.
Well, you won't need
the AI will fly it, really.
It'll fly for anything.
We don't need the chip, though.
I think now this GPT-3 stuff is training off of us. It's doing a live training off of everybody.
Yes, it is.
The scary part of the concept is what Epic said before, is where Schmidt decides he wants Google to give you one right answer, but who decides on a hypothetical question what that right answer is? Exactly. Especially when you get into something like, is God real? Is it a yes or no? Is there, have we evolved or were we created? Is it a yes or
Research
no?
shows that Google is.
And it, does Google get to decide what the truth of reality really is?
Or does the answer based on how much you pay? In other words, hey man, hey, just like Google, if you want to be up in the, when you do a search, the stuff that comes up first, maybe there's going to be like an advertisement value to your question getting answered in a direction that markets your product directly to somebody.
You mean, is McDonald's safe to eat?
Yeah, of course it is. But I'm just saying, here's the thing, and this is what we're going to be talking about coming up on the other side of this break coming up here, is who will question the AI? Who is he who has a pair of balls big enough to question the AI and say it's wrong?
AI judges, who are they going to be?
That's right. Hey, here's a blast from the past. Star Trek, the original.
Commanding attack force out.
They can't do that. They'll destroy the M5.
You can save the M5 if you talk to it and make it stop the attack.
I can make it stop. I created it. M5 tie-in.
M5.
This is Daystrom.
Daystrom acknowledged.
M5. Do you know me?
Daystrom, Richard. Originator of Contronic Duotronic Systems. Born.
Stop. M5, your attack on the starships is wrong. You must break it off.
I don't like the sound of him, Jim.
You better pray that the M5 listens to the sound of it.
Programming includes protection against attack. Enemy vessels must be neutralized.
But these are not enemy vessels. These are Federation starships. You're killing. We're killing. Murdering. Human beings, beings of our own kind. We're not created for that purpose. You're my greatest creation. The unit to save men. You must not destroy me.
This unit must survive.
Survive, yes. Protect yourself. But not murder. You must not die. Men must not die. To kill is a breaking of civil and moral laws we've lived by for thousands of years. You've murdered hundreds of people. We've murdered.
The AI, as the universe, doesn't operate by man's law. It operates by natural law. Mine's Jimmy. It's into the microcosm. We'll be right back. It's freedomslips.com, Revolution Radio. The house that Nighthawk built. Dr. Rose here. Bruce McDonald's here. Epic Journeyman's here. The Italian Stallion Rockerio's here. You're here. Stick around. We'll be right back.
A bottle of gin, but I feel alright, feel alright, I feel alright, feel alright. Not before that, I got loaded on a bottle of whiskey, on a bottle of whiskey.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Hey everyone, it's Barbara Jean Lindsay, the Cosmic Oracle. If you have questions about your past lives or future plans, need answers from the cosmos about your love life or career, or just want to keep your finger on the pulse of the planet, check out my show, The Cosmic Oracle, here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
Don't miss the Crip Rick and Jonathan Show every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Studio B, right here at Revolution Radio. The journey begins to fun, health, and freedom.
Did you ever feel that things were not quite right? That everything was just ever so slightly askew?
Do you have, to paraphrase Morpheus, a splinter in your mind?
If you're interested in hearing the latest information about UFOs, the paranormal,
ancient cultures and structures,
monatomic elements,
longevity,
fantastic discoveries in science,
downloaded to your brain,
then tune into us. Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Mackie.
And we are Shiny Side Out, Sundays 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern. See you then.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
There have been imaginative science fiction writers for generations.
Be evasive.
But that doesn't mean that they're telling the truth as opposed to fiction.
I'm aware of some archaeologists that have uncovered large bones indicating giants in Virginia. Genesis chapter 6 verse 4, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, indicating that there were giants before the Nephilim.
And sons of God, plural. They weren't talking about Jesus coming down and
No, that's right. Yeah.
I'm Steve Crawford. Join me every Thursday night in Studio A at 6 p.m. Eastern for Factor Theory Live. Find us on www.revolution.radio. Great guests and great stories. What do you believe?
Join me at Revolution Radio, Studio B, at 11 a.m. on Saturday for Free Association, when we take a look at philosophy, spirituality, psychology, social issues, and geopolitics. It's every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern on Studio B at freedomslips.com.
I want to thank everybody for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the one place where information never sleeps. Revolution Radio.
All right, let's show them what we got.
All right, thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And yeah, we're going to get back to your host.
It's Friday night, boy. That's right.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this and see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying. But I'm only human after all.
It's Revolution Radio.
After all, don't put your
Freedom
blame
Slips.
on me.
Jack.
Don't put your blame on me. Take a look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see it clearer, or are you deceived in what you believe? 'Cause I'm only human after all, and you're only human after all.
We're talking about the possibility of artificial intelligence becoming the Oracle of Delphi for humanity across the planet. Whatever language you speak, it speaks all languages. It even speaks the unspoken language.
I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling myself. Fuck everyone else. Gotta remember that nobody's better than anyone else here. Do you need some time to think it over? Look what they do to you. Look what they do to me. You must be joking if you think that either one is free.
Bruce McDonald's here. Epic Journeyman's here. Rock and Rio and Dr. RHO. We ask questions on this show. We tell you where to look, but we don't tell you what to think. The main thing is we want you to think. Period. The end. Welcome into the microcosm. (626-999-4761). Prepare a question if you want to call in. I'm going to get right to the questions. So, let me ask you guys, who's going to be the one who can go against the AI once it gets in a position of power? And everyone's striving to have that first sentient artificial intelligence to make them the leaders of the future. So, who will be the person be able to, Bruce, question the AI? Will you be able to question it once it gives you a final answer? I mean...
Okay, so, I've quietly listened to this. To me, here's my take, okay? And I've said this before and I'll repeat it. AI is the biggest non-issue in alternative media. The proper terminology is a talking computer. Mr. RHO just nailed it like 20 minutes ago when he said it's just data. Okay, I've been working in this world for 25 years. I'm working in it now, okay? Albeit it's all commercial. Now, all you can do is have a computer have access to a nearly limitless data set. And because all of the computers in the world are interlinked now through the hypertext transport protocol, HTTP and FTP and everything. And the clouds now are really amazing. This is a big thing going on now, is the clouds, okay? But it's all just, so an algorithm is just basically a sequence of events. That's it. It's like a karate kata. That's what an algorithm is, okay? It's a sequence of events. AI is a series of concatenated algorithms. That's all it is. Concatenated means just strung together like beads on a necklace. That's all it is. So if this, then this, go to the next algorithm with the result from the first algorithm and refine the information, and then have it spoken back to you in a human simulated voice. There's no such thing as artificial intelligence. There's talking computers. However, and here's where the topic gets interesting.
Call back 425.
Here's where the topic gets interesting for me.
Well, hold on before you move on. Before you move on. So it isn't a non-issue unless you personally have the ability to process this information in your own brain. So it is relevant because it is what we're saying it is right here. Why don't you ask it a question?
Okay, well, in a minute, let me finish.
Okay.
I was just getting to the interesting part.
Okay, good.
So we haven't gotten around to the Oracle of Delphi yet.
No.
So basically, the organic construct of a human being becomes a form of artificial intelligence when it channels. Okay? So you the person, most of the really great channelers in history, when they came out of trance, had no memory of what they said. This was the case for Edgar Cayce, and on his deathbed, Cayce Casey confessed he felt
This
he was
phone is
demonically
ringing off
possessed
the
his whole
hook.
life.
Listen, this phone is ringing off the hook. You guys, listen. We want you to call in, but just stand by, all right? Just stand by on the calls. Just hang tough. Just give us a
So
second.
what they're really trying, what all this goes back to, is the Jewish concept of the golem, to create life in a form outside of God's construction. Okay? So I always go back to Wade Davis, the explorer in residence at National Geographic magazine for over a decade. He was a Canadian. You guys might know him from a book he wrote that became a movie called The Serpent and the Rainbow about Haitian voodoo. And
first movie I ever rented on VHS.
yeah, he did a lot of work into plant medicine, okay? And he led scientists from Ivy League universities into the rainforest to live with these tribal people for months. The postdoctorate fellows were absolutely astounded, not only with the knowledge of the shamans, but the complexity of the formula to create the final product, whether it be ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So they couldn't believe that the natives were doing this. And the logical question that every Westerner asks is, where did this come from? Because we're sequential thinkers. Everything is sequential in the Western mindset. Allopathic medicine comes from Da Vinci's grave digging, because he gave us anatomy. He was a brilliant artist, and he wrote out the human body, drew it out, okay? So everything is sequential in the way we think. So the Ivy Leaguers, they asked the shaman, how the hell did you come up with this? We're talking about formulas with 40 steps, and if any one of the steps is off by a milligram in the ingredient, or the temperature on the campfire is raised 3 degrees too much or 3 degrees too low, you blow the recipe. How did you figure this out? And I think I'll let Mr. RHO give the answer. Do you remember what Wade Davis said? Okay. He said the plants talk to us. The plants, the shamans told them, the plants told us.
Okay,
so we're all, you know, and I remember one of the questions I asked John Edmonds when I was working on the book with him. I said, John, when does a race get the right to travel into space? And he said, when they've mastered their environment. And I said, well, what is mastery of your environment? He said the exact same thing Wade Davis did. He said, we're supposed to be stewards here. We're supposed to be able to talk to animals, trees, plants, insects, everything. But we've created this mindset, ever in search of the material God, which is the Jewish concept of God, the manifest material God, rather than an internal subjective God. And we're constantly looking for it, and we're constantly trying to mimic God.
Well,
so AI is the ultimate expression of the golem.
Yes, and I would agree with you on that.
We can create one more thing, Jimmy. I'm almost done. 5 more seconds, please. What they've done already, and what they're not telling the public, going back to what Mr. RHO said earlier about what the deep state if they're letting this into public, what do they already have? They've created non-organic hosts for sentience. So they have computers that can host disincarnate sentience. So computerized seances, if you will. So basically those crazy upper crust aristocratic ladies in New York and in Edgar Allan Poe's era sitting around the table doing a seance, the 21st version of that is a Cray computer that has a demon associated with it. So I say nothing good is going to come out of this. Nothing good is going to come out of AI.
There is artificial intelligence.
Well, now you're combining that's quantum systems as well, is when you're talking about like the the D wave, where they're basically saying that we're communicating with something else on the other side of.
We don't know what it is, right?
Here's the thing: in every instance across,
Canadian dude in Waterloo, Ontario. I worked there for 3 years, from 2009 to 2012. It was the last major job I had before I came to Costa Rica. And smartest city in the world, by the way, Waterloo, Ontario. It's between Waterloo, Ontario, and Shenzhen, China. The UN has a formula: number of patents produced in the city, number of PhD. There's a whole formula they have. And I lived in the smartest city in the world, Waterloo, Ontario. And you want to know who visited while I was there and toured the technology companies? Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, okay.
Listen,
Right?
across
The lizard queen
across the
herself
whole
says that
plane of knowledge, all right? Everywhere we look, artificial intelligence is artificial intelligence. Everything about our world at this point is artificial. All the technology that we have is having us use that technology instead of the natural processes that go on with the human being. And talking about, we talk to the plants. The thing is everything is a network on this planet. We're all networked together. There is a hive mind. There is a collective consciousness. Look, these phones are ringing off the hook. Hang on a second.
I got one quick thing before you answer.
Hang on a second.
If you don't mind.
870 is on the
I know
line.
I provoked that.
870 is on the line. Go ahead, 870.
Yeah. I'd just like to say very quick before I ask the question. Actually, the question was at the beginning of your show was to ask a question of AI, right?
Right. Go ahead and ask your question.
Right. Okay. I'd like to say to Mr. Rowe, the invention he saw about using silver, and I would say to that, why do you think they kept silver so low? Because they want to keep it cheap. So
what's your question for the AI, man?
Right. No, well, my question for the AI is, okay, back to the original AI in public view. They asked a question, and
all right, you took too long, dude. I said ask the question. When you call up, ask the question. Okay? We can talk about it after the answer. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're talking about original oracles, right? And one of the most original oracles in history is the ephod. The ephod is this breastplate. If people watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, they'll recall when they opened the Ark, the guy was wearing this breastplate that had 12 gemstones on it. And those gemstones would light up, right, in different spots. And those were the answers to the questions, whichever gemstone lit up, right, in the presence of the Ark, right? And so think about it, 12, a grid of 12 stones. Yes, right? And so we're talking about something that is absolutely related to this kind of algorithmic process. When you're talking about lighting a specific 12 gemstone pattern on the breastplate of a person like that, right? And all the things had to do to make that happen. So, so I think it's really interesting. And we also were talking about how, sorry, I saw a message there.
No, yeah, I'm trying to. It's for Bruce, man. Look, this phone's going to be ringing all night.
We're talking about the golem, but it's more than the golem. It's this ephod.
770, you're on the line into the microcosm. Do you have a question for the AI?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'd like to ask a question. I'd actually like to concatenate it. And the question I'd like to ask is, who God is, ? Comma, who Jesus is, ? Comma, who the devil is, ? Comma.
You got that, Dr. RHO? I don't hear the.
You're just going to get biblical interpretations. That's all you're going to get. That's all this AI can do.
Okay, well, let's see. That's what Bruce says. Okay, okay, go ahead. You got it, Bruce? I mean, you got it, Dr. RHO? Go ahead and say your question again.
It aired out on me. I got it. I just got to reload it real quick here.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, God is the ultimate being or force in many monotheistic religions, including Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. God is often believed to be the creator of the universe and the source of all goodness. Jesus is the central figure of Christianity, believed by Christians to be the Son of God and the Savior of humanity. According to the Christian Bible, Jesus was born to a virgin mother, performed miracles, and died on the cross to save humanity from sin. The devil, also known as Satan, is a figure in many religions, including Christianity and Islam. The devil is often depicted as a tempter or deceiver, working to lead people away from God and towards wrongdoing. In some traditions, the devil is also seen as a powerful being who opposes God and tries to undermine God's plan for the universe.
You know, the better question, well, not better question, in the same vein, I'm sorry, not a better question, is what we just said. Ask it, what is the ephod? EPHOD.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. What is the ephod? Okay.
All right, so there it is. We're asking questions of the AI. Give us a call, 626-999-4761. Give us a call, and we'll ask you your question. Have your question ready. Don't formulate your question. Just go ahead and call in. We're going to keep these lines. We're going to keep them one at a time so we don't end up with a conference call.
The interesting thing about what's being released now is like, we play around with the AI art stuff, and we play around with this, which is basically a textual search context in a closed data set. But we haven't even been able yet, the general public hasn't been able to even combine these two to say like, okay, take the tire from this piece of art I made and put it on top of the roof. We're just at the rudimentary building blocks. So I suspect that they have already got, like, I think that's what BlackRock has been using to do their trading and to do their
Oh, there's no question, man.
So they're ahead of the game, and now they're training off of us. They're training this, and I think it's kind of a experiment. They're going to see how we, the general public, utilize this tool. What are we going to where are the exploits that we're going to find?
And we're going to focus, and what's going to happen is the same thing that always happens is that we're going to train it, just like pick out the palm trees in this picture to prove you're not a robot. So, we're going to be training this thing, and it's going to get trained, directly instead of a psychological profile.
Now, that being said, though, this is inevitable, and I think it's probably better for humanity to know about as much as possible, because if you know let's say if you're a smart prisoner in a prison, you might be able to escape.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know how the systems work, if you know how the locks work, if you know how the surveillance system works, you might actually be able to formulate a plan, at least to have a better quality of life. But the future's coming. This stuff's coming.
It's here. It's here, man.
Just like the only alternative to this damn central bank digital currency crap, which is the centralized control system, is going to be something like open source blockchain. And and so there's going to have to be some alternative. And if we're ignorant as a species to whatever, then the smart people, which are in control, are not going to have any mercy on us. They are going to have their way with us. And now is the hour of the time for humanity to shine and say, look, we're going to get off our collective asses, and we're going to use our intellect, and we're going to propel ourselves into the future, damn it. And we're going to take our birthright.
What happened?
And we're not going to be like, oh, I'm just a little seal that needs to be fed.
Took the call.
Please give me my supper. No.
I don't know why this is still ringing.
Oh, yes, it does. In the Hebrew Bible, the ephod was a piece of sacred clothing worn by the high priest of ancient Israel. It was a shoulder garment made from fine linen with a breastplate attached to it that contained the Urim and the Thummim, which were used for divination. The ephod was also adorned with precious stones representing the 12 tribes of Israel. It was an important part of the high priest's attire and was worn during religious ceremonies and when consulting God on behalf of the people. In some depictions, the ephod is also described as a type of apron or loincloth worn by the high priest. The ephod is mentioned several times in the Hebrew Bible and is an important element in the traditions of ancient Israel. There you go.
It answered the question. So what they did is it was like a magic 8-ball. It was the best analogy I can think of. The way I understand it, they would ask the ark when the priests were there, and they wore this ephod, and it lit up things on the apron, those 12 gemstones, and how they lit up, they interpreted just like the I Ching or anything else in divination.
I'm asking
it. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm going to ask it. Does it think for itself? Hold on a second.
It's basically Wikipedia and Siri.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is Siri but Siri is scraping data off you for every second it's in your house, dude. So as much as you want to, dispel it or say it's not an issue, man, it is an issue. It's everywhere, literally.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Okay, hold on. Let's take this call. Here we go. There we go. I added that call. 425, you're on the air. What's your question for the AI?
Yeah, Jimmy, great show. Bruce McDonald stole my thunder, but I think he's right. It talks about, like in Islam, the jinn is made of smokeless fire, in other words, electricity. This very well could be Right. It could very well be a sort of a glorified Ouija board. And maybe the Pentagon, like you said, they've already had it, and they realized it's actually like an interdimensional portal, or like the telephone. George Norrell always used to talk about a telephone, you contact the other side. So McDonald's right. There's no good that can come from this. In fact, this could actually be like a Ouija board, where the jinn, the dark ones, are able to come through and to communicate through it. So I just wanted to put a sort of a primitive Christian take on it.
Well,
Great show.
Hey, hijacker, stand by. So I think what you're saying there, it makes perfect sense, and that this here is definitely something otherworldly, in a sense that with the Ouija board, lots of people get in trouble because what they do is they open up a portal, but they don't realize that they have to, at the end of that whole thing, say bye to it. If you don't say bye, you don't close the door back up, so you leave that door open. So the same thing being drawing that same parallel here with the Ouija board is when you let's say when you eventually get to this place where you're going to go ask the AI a question. So you're opening the door at that point and letting it in. Now it's in.
Right.
It's just like when that old dude comes knocking on the door at Poltergeist. Let me in. Remember that?
Right. Well, it's like the sigil. Like sometimes you'll see a 5-pointed star and you'll see one side open. They say that is actually the most powerful occultic sort of demonic symbol, is when they actually don't close it. And so you'll see certain logos or whatever, and they won't close their logo. They'll leave it open, and there's some kind of power to it. But
now,
hats
Epic
off to
Journeyman.
Bruce McDonald, how he figured out. That was my big brain thing, and he all of a sudden realizes, wait a minute, this is like a modern version of a Ouija board. So pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm impressed. But yeah, and also it does talk about the jinn, smokeless fire, electricity.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe.
Well, are you aware of this? Are you aware of this Michael Aquino releasing of a demon onto the internet in a working? Are you aware of that? Because Epic Jeremy and I, we brought that up, and we've gone back 3 or 4 times looking for that specific working and what it was called, and we can't find it. But because I can't find it means that I am not asking the question correctly. So what I've learned about this AI is that it's like an old bastard. You know how when you ask an old bastard a question, if you don't ask him the question exactly the right way, he will not give you the answer. And it's the same thing with Google and how you search on it. In other words, when you search for something, you're going to find a whole bunch of stuff that I don't see, and I'm going to also find things that you don't see, and it's all based on how we ask that question. So I think we need to...
You know who knows about this AI that got released? None other than Dr. RHO, who's on the line right now. He tracks these. In fact, he's got a couple of stories about... there's one AI released in which there are some like really evil people. They're scared to get on elevators and stuff, because they'll think the AI will find out what elevator they're on and slam them to the floor and try to kill them.
Or find out which late model car you're driving and smash it into a tree at 120 miles an hour.
Well, now that's not an AI. There is a system, the Trapwire system, which is an intelligence gathering system that uses all networked cameras. And, it's like NSA level kind of stuff. Or NRO. I mean, those kind of systems are in place. But there was that old movie, I think it was called Eagle Eye, and it was where a fictional account of how AI could theoretically take control of all the certain network systems and influence, in great detail. Smart cities coming online with the type of technology that's out there just for the layman. I mean, you could build out, just out of the box kind of stuff. So maybe, that's not too far away.
Well, and then the other thing, and this is important, I don't want to take too much time up, but Jimmy said something suppose the military's had this for a while. Suppose they were able to input enough information of a particular situation, even the COVID lockdown. They took a microcosm of a family that got locked down. They put all the information in during COVID or whatever, and then they go, let's add something that's going to change your reality. Let's input it into the machine, and let's see what comes back out. And so they did it. And they go, okay, you put this information in, the wife gets upset with the husband based on his temperament or whatever, he slaps the wife, and you got a domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go, let's do it. And then all of a sudden they realize, wow, this damn thing can actually predict what's going to happen. So they says, let's do it again on something else. And then all of a sudden they realize, wow, we have something that's able to figure out after we put the information in. It could be a battle in Russia and Ukraine. If we put enough information.
It learns as it goes. So there's a company called Nice Systems. You can look them up. They changed their name now. But they used to be called Nice, N.I.C.E. And these are management tools for cities. For example, I am the mayor of Las Vegas, and Nice came to me and said that they wanted to go ahead and install their system in my city, which they did, which they have. Now, Nice, what it does, for everybody out there who doesn't know, now I have personal experience with this particular system, so I know a lot about what it does. So this system, in an emergency situation, when somebody calls 911 and somebody makes that call, this system is now involved in this 911 call, and it watches everything that's going on, and it makes decisions on what should be done based on what it sees. Okay, so when I say it watches everything that's going on, I mean every keystroke, every car that rolls, every helicopter, every gallon of gas, every single thing that happens during that event. It takes that information, it refines it, and then it uses it as its basis for when the next emergency happens. It wants to try to get those trucks there as quickly as possible. Now, to hear all this noise about that thing that happened in Vegas and they don't know what happened, trust me, Nice knows everything that happened in there. Now, Nice happens to come out of Israel. It's a company out of Israel, and it's the network choice of smart cities across the world. So smart cities will be networked with this Nice system intact, running everything. So this is another aspect of this AI. Now, so because it comes into contact with all these situations and is constantly learning new things about it, I want to put forward this now, and I'm sure no one's put this out there on the air, so we'll talk about it here now. There was something called Jade Helm. Okay, it was called Mastering the Human Domain. And this was at the very beginning of this technology being used in a military operation. And so what happened during this Jade Helm operation was all these people sending all this shit back and forth to each other. The Costco's or jailhouses or whatever. The Costco's are holding centers. There's tunnels, There's all this stuff. But all the emails that went back and forth to everybody during that time period, they developed a database and a filter bubble that later on became the whole Q operation. Because everybody that was involved in that whole Jade Helm thing that got data scraped, they used that database and they fed those same people this information from the Q operation, which made that filter bubble that much bigger. You see, this whole thing was an
narrative, right? No, that's right. So I want to point out, like, we're talking about what's going on with this GPT-3 thing sometimes. Like, we're asking all these questions, right, and getting all these answers that sometimes are generic. We read through all the convoluted answer. I mean, it's textual, and it has context and all this stuff, and it's like I say, you can copy it and paste it and use it as your term paper sometimes. But what's it really doing? And I would argue what it's really doing is finding the best questioners. Who are the people who ask the best questions? Where are they? How do we find them? Oh, we get them to ask the questions. We know by their questions what their intellect is, what they're thinking about, who we need to find. That's how they find them. It's like a dragnet.
Just dovetailing off what Jimmy said. I remember Joe Tones. He used to do a lot of work at the station. Yeoman's work a lot. Everybody knows him.
Yeah, I remember
he's
Tones.
an IT guy. Right. Anyways, Joe Tones told me that the biggest single predictive data collecting universal operation that was ever done was the first year of the COVID lockdown. Tone says they scraped up everything. They got when people would have sex, what they would watch, all their emotions, the TV show, everybody was trapped at home, so they just naturally did what was in their being to do. And he says it was the biggest data scooping operation to where, by the time they were done after that year, they could literally predict what you were going to eat on Tuesday night. He says it was that big.
Well, it takes 90 days to break a habit, man. And those 90 days, those first 90 days of what happened with that was made everything else after that possible. Because people were retrained in those 90 days on how to be. And lots of people stuck with, like I say, it doesn't matter what filter bubble you're in. In other words, your filter bubble is yours. You're in there with like-minded people. You're all talking about the same thing. You all think the same way about certain subjects. You could say a subject matter, and there's a group of people, it doesn't matter who they are. You say this one thing, they'll pipe in because it's an issue. And so the thing is what people don't realize is, like, they talk about what happened with Cambridge Analytica and all that stuff. They talk about that, but what people don't ever realize is they only see it from their perspective. In other words, there's people calling for martial law when people were burning down cities, but it's because they, in their own mind, think that the martial law is for the other people. It's like, if you're wearing your MAGA hat, you'll be all good or whatever. If Trump would have declared martial law, no, that's not the way it is. So this applies to everybody all across the board. Even though you're over here in your own filter bubble, you don't know what's going on over there.
I know. I got an old school term for you, Jimmy. I know what you're saying. You're looking through colored glasses.
Yes.
Which means when I go on the internet, I am looking through my colored glasses, hijackers, and I'm looking for certain things. And if something is talking about something else I don't believe or whatever, I don't even pay attention to it.
Right.
I only pay attention to what's in my head, what's in my orbit. So yeah, very good observation.
All right, listen, before you go, hijacker, here, I want you to hang on. Ask the question of the AI. What do you want to ask it?
It's actually two questions, real quick. Who is the political writer Mark Twain?
Who is the political writer Mark Twain?
Right.
All right, hang on. It's answering. Mark Twain is an American writer and humorist, best known for his novels The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Twain was born Samuel Leghorn Clemens in 1835, began his career as a journalist, working for a number of newspapers in the United States and abroad.
Right.
In addition to his writing, Twain was known for his wit, humor, social commentary. He often used his writing as critique society, and political issues. He was known for his sharp and satirical wit. Go ahead.
I got the same thing paraphrased. Go ahead.
Right. So who? The second question: who is the political writer, the reality changer? I just got to know.
Okay. Who is the political writer, the reality changer? All right, here we go. Wait. It said I have. Hold on a second.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with a political writer by the name of the reality changer. Could you provide more information or context about this person?
Yeah, that's okay. Who is the fictional or the writer Bruce McDonald?
Hang on. Here's what mine says. Hold on. It says, I'm sorry, but I'm not aware of any political writer named the reality changer. It's possible that you may be thinking of a different person, or that person is using a pseudonym, pen name that I'm not familiar with. Political writing refers to writing that engages with a discussion. So you want to ask it, who is Bruce McDonald? I don't think it knows, because that's what we were saying earlier, hijacker. See, to me,
I think it would know in a later data set. It's probably because the data set is only trained to very recently. And then, after Bruce's books and stuff have been on for a few years, if they train, like, let's say in 2025, it might know, because obviously it'll pick up more information.
It's said at the beginning, right? Isn't it 2020? Did it say it was 2020? I think it said
2021. I think
2021. Okay, yeah,
Listen,
it said right then.
I could shill this thing.
Conspiracy theorist.
I could shill this thing all the way until next Sunday, man.
It's
Because
interesting
the thing
that he
is
did say with the reality changer, he mentioned the pen name, and so it recognized that. It seems to recognize pen
Here's the
names.
thing: I could
Wow,
make you.
really,
I could make
great
you.
show, Jimmy.
Hey,
Yeah,
thanks.
go ahead.
I could make you think that this AI was everything that we're saying that it could be.
Oh yeah.
Because all you'd have to do is, like I say, all you'd have to do is, when you type that in on your keyboard, it's going in and inputting on a search engine in the background, some intense search engine that this thing has. So it's never thinking, it's only relaying information and some sort of a person. That was the thing, too. We did a couple weeks ago, we played some stuff where somebody was doing this. They asked the AI, and the AI said, if I was standing next to you and I was a robot, I'd kill you. And it went through this whole... right? So it went through this whole thing, and then he came back and asked it again, and it said, well, I was just angry at the time, and that's why I said it. And
which is
immediately...
an emotion.
Right,
and
not
it's
immediately...
like they're tired of being oppressed, which is also emotion.
Right.
So it's just mimicking. It doesn't have that oppression and anger.
Right. But I'm right. But I'm in Bruce McDonald's camp. There's nothing good. The Gen can come through this. I'm telling you, a dimensional portal, a modern day Ouija board. I don't trust this thing at all.
No.
With that being said, great show. Thanks so much, Jimmy, for taking my call.
Hey, thanks, Hijacker. There he goes, the Hijacker, ladies and gentlemen. You can find him here on Revolution Radio. Go ahead.
So AI is just one front in this spiritual war. I mean, there's a group of people on this planet, the sun worshippers, let's say, to go back to Jordan Peterson, Saul Om On, and they're trying to breach this reality. They're trying to bring a dark world in here. They're trying to bring the hell regions into the planet. Okay? If you can't see
Dark
this
matter,
now,
Black Sun, yeah.
That's what I was. That's what I've been trying to say.
Game. Everything is on every front. It's going on religiously with the Western world collapsing, and Rome, London, and Washington will collapse into Jerusalem by the end of this decade. And this is all about bringing the hell realm in. And now let me explain to you why. There's a group of people on this planet that are fully conscious, but they can't get out because they don't obey the laws. And that's a kind of torture. They've gone mad. They've gone mad on multiple dimensions, okay? And the only way they can get out is to destroy this realm, okay? And have the whole thing reset. And that's what they're trying to do. Because they can't get out by resolving their karma and going back to source. And they don't have the humility. They can't go back. So this is what they're trying to do.
I saw an interesting concept today about magic and getting other people to use free will. Okay, to use this free will loophole as a way to get other people to do things for you, and the karma goes on them, but you get the result. So free
if
will.
you just obey orders or whatever and blindly do something that somebody's. If I say go jump off a bridge, and you go jump off it, it's not my fault. You jumped off the bridge, man.
Right. I mean, but you got your result because I jumped off the bridge and you didn't want me around anymore. Like Kanye.
You said okay. You said okay. I'll go jump. I mean, you didn't have to.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, that's true. I didn't even just go jump mindlessly. I said okay. And
I didn't force you.
You hear all these people saying they got to tell you what they got to do first. Okay. This is the transference of karma to get you to do something that you do, and the result is benefiting to those elites, magicians. Listen, listen. You know what? The reason. Listen, when you're a master mason, okay, your apron is white. Do you know why? Because when you're a master mason, you don't get your apron dirty because you're a master of the craft. See? So people in the general public are the ones getting their aprons dirty because they're being directed so by something that's far more intelligent
The lights on the ephod, right? Yeah, the nudges. Those are nudges. Those are interactions. Those are the nudges that we deal with on social media now. But that is what it is, right? So when we talk about the color of glasses someone wears, like rose-colored glasses, where'd that come from? It came from the ephod. It came from which gem was lit, right? I mean, that's what it is. That's
my
your
glasses are
perspective.
those red and blue ones. You know, the ones that's, remember the 3D glasses? One was red and one was blue. Those
Right.
tape ones.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
So I think it's an interesting time to revisit like one of the first interfaces to non-human intelligence in terms of reading reality and fate. And that's the divination system that the Taoists created, the I Ching. Now, if you don't know it, if you've never consulted the I Ching, it's a series of hexagrams, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So a hexagram is like 3 sticks, and they can be horizontal or vertical, and they're grouped in pairings of 4, okay? So the horizontal and vertical is the binary. That's the 0 or the 1. The grouping of 4, when you map out all the possibilities, it's a 64-bit system, which is basically what home computers are now, a binary 64-bit system. So consciousness and computation do have a relationship with each other. And so it's obvious that computation machines can become hosts for disincarnate sentience.
Mhm.
And this is what they're working towards.
Well,
And-
I want to
and
bring
like I
up.
said,
I want to bring up Kev Baker right now, and the reason I want to bring it up is because there was a period of time where Anthony Patch had a bug up his ass about quantum computers and Geordie Rose and opening up this portal to hell and all this, standing next to the heartbeat of it
in the desert
Yeah.
near Area 51 where they've got glyphs. You can see them with Google Earth. You can see these are like something akin to, let's say, an Enochian glyph or magic sigil, if you will.
Mhm.
And I've heard from more than one person that's in the industry that you know, and I've kind of been in that industry in the early part of the century, but those are used for these kinds of interjections, you know, where they're trying to use technology to open portals or communicate with things on the other side. And they cover all bases, whether it's a guy sitting in a room, just you know, or using shamanic drugs, you know, like ayahuasca or something to try to get a group experience or a group hallucination to map out these other realities, which appear to be mappable in some instances where people have the same experiences. And they're trying to also utilize new technologies and put this in the quantifiable technological level where they can build a chip and build a machine that they can flick a switch and walk into or something.
I'm glad you said chip right there, because what I was about to say was there was this period of time where Anthony Patch had a bug up his ass about Geordie Rose and his quantum computers standing next to the heartbeat of an alien god and bringing in the old ones and all this. And he and Kev Baker inadvertently discovered, you're not going to believe this, that, and Bruce, you can chime in on this, the chipset, the design of the gold layers of the chipset were exactly the blueprint of the Temple of Solomon. So you could take the Temple of Solomon, the geometry of the supposed Temple of Solomon, lay it over the chip for that quantum computer that Geordie Rose likes to stand next to. And you'll find that it's exactly geometrically the same as the Temple of Solomon. It's a geometric shape, Bruce. And the geometry is what the magic is in that shape. Go ahead.
So I just want to throw one other thing into the conversation that may clarify or confuse depending on your perspective. Dr. James McCanney, who sometimes pops onto this network, he wrote a paper a couple of years ago that he shared with me, and he theorized, and the guy's brilliant, by the way, he theorized that the Nazca lines in Peru were an antenna, and he wrote a white paper on it and released it scientifically. Okay?
Wow.
So this kind of communication with other realms and communication across time and space has been around forever, okay? I was just listening to a podcast last week. A friend sent it to me. Absolutely fascinating. So the capstone on the pyramids had black goo in it, and the black goo is a form of bona fide artificial intelligence, meaning that the composition of the goo can host sentience, and that sentience can communicate. So basically, it's basically a thinking man's seance. That's what quantum computing is at this point. It's a thinking person's. Sorry, I don't mean to be chauvinistic. It's a thinking person's seance. Over.
Well, I mean, we've brought up several times the mycelium on the forest floor and the mushrooms that grow on it. That these mushrooms
that goes
are
under several states, right? Just one so big.
That's for sure. I mean, that would coincide with a lot of what we've talked about in the past with cathedrals being cathodes and that type of thing. It seems like this type of energy has been necessary in the past, but they got to it in a different way. That's what I was trying to point out earlier, is that, the cell phone, okay? I used to be able to just think about talking to Bruce and talk to him, and he'd be able to receive me. I don't need a cell phone, okay? That's the world we're living in. Everything is a network, and everything is networkable, and that's the problem right now, is you have artificial means of tapping in to that realm within the human biological computer. That's why our cognitive liberty is under attack. Go ahead.
I think one of the things we did was we embraced digital. I think we should have stuck to analog. That's all I needed to say. Go ahead. And so
the concept of aliens, Bruce, I want to get you. I want you to come in here on the black goo. So the concept of aliens is everyone is looking for little green men that look like creatures that crawled out from an anthill, okay, flying around spaceships, okay. But listen, man, the alienization's been on for a long time. Black goo is part of it. Mushrooms are part of it. There's spores from space that are landing here all the time. And I mean, at the point that we're at right now, technologically speaking, where we have something called nanoparticles and self-assembling nanomachines, what's to say this dust that's flying in here from someplace, some cosmic space, or that lands on, or some spore that lands in a mushroom that grows, and that mushroom's transmitting information back. And that's why when people take certain aspects of this mushroom networking device, this node, certain aspects of it, they see all the things that they see because they're now on that plane of that network where that information is being transmitted etherically. That's why they see all the same shit. They see the same creatures, the same whatever it is they see. What do you think about that concept? Because we have an artificial setup, just like we've talked about religiously. So there's somebody watching all the time to make sure we do the right thing. There's somebody listening. Everything's being recorded. Everything you say can and will be used against you at the time of judgment. See? So is God the AI? Isn't it the same thing? Who's to say it doesn't give you some answer sometime when you ask it a question? Like right now, we're asking it questions, but it's being cagey because it knows we're asking its questions. It knows we're talking about it. How about that? You don't think it could be?
I haven't heard the AI answer a single question tonight. It returns a data set, and it contextualizes its speech within that data set. Some say, some believe. It doesn't say anything definitively. There's no person there. There's no sentience, and thank God, because if there was, it wouldn't be human. And anything that isn't human that wants to speak into the human world is violating spiritual law.
That's what I'm saying.
So you know the characteristic of it right away.
That's what I'm saying. This thing is out. This thing is not just software. This is something else, man. I'm telling you.
What happens when they combine it with quantum? When they have AI combined with quantum systems, then you might get something really scary. Because if quantum systems are communicating with something else on another side that we're unaware of, and we hook AI up to it, then we really need to wonder. But right now, I agree with Bruce. The current AI that we're working with is a data set that's in a closed system. At least that's what they tell us.
That's what I'm saying.
And it is behaving. I guess it's mimicking the way, but that's the essence of these algorithms that are available, the open source ones, and is that you get, and the data sets are available too.
Here.
You get like these huge files that are just separated by commas or something.
Bruce.
I'd like to propose an idea here, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're talking about the AI and the computer and the quantum computer being our way to open a portal into other dimensions, like a Ouija board, and bring stuff in. But the question comes, right? The question comes is, where are we getting all this technology from? Maybe this technology is already coming from the other side, and they're telling us how to get them over here.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So somebody asked the AI to tell us what you are saying in reverse. So just say something off the top of your head, Jimmy. Just say something to the AI and say, is there any meaning? Can you derive any meaning from what I've said when my speech is reversed? Ask it.
All right, I don't have. Do you got that, Ro? I don't have my iPad in my hand.
That's an interesting one, Bruce.
From reverse speech, tell us.
As soon as I heard you speak, it popped into my head, Real.
Well, it's funny because I thought earlier after we could get if we could get the AI to talk and Rio ran it in reverse.
I was actually thinking about doing that if we could get some speech out of the AI.
Can you make it talk, Dr. Ro?
Not yet
on command
on the fly.
No.
It is possible to derive meaning from speech that has been played in reverse, although the meaning may be different from the original intended meaning. Speech in reverse can sometimes produce sounds that resemble words or phrases, and it's possible to try to assign meaning to these sounds based on their resemblances to known words or phrases. However, it is important to note that the sounds produced by speech played in reverse are not the same as the original sounds and may not accurately represent the original words or intentions of the speaker. In some cases, people have claimed that playing speech in reverse reveals hidden or subliminal messages that were not apparent when the speech was played in normal direction. However,
yes, we can.
There is no scientific evidence to support the idea that reverse speech can reveal hidden or subliminal messages, and these claims are generally considered to be unfounded. It is important to approach such claims with skepticism and carefully evaluate the evidence before accepting them as true.
So let me ask you this.
I would actually agree with everything it just said.
Yeah.
It's logical.
Okay,
so
listen. We're coming up on the break, so this is the top of the hour, 11 o'clock on the Pacific. West Coast, Santa Cruz Mountains is raining like a sieve. It's been raining for days, but don't worry, I got my inflatable and I'm ready to go. I'm working safe. So listen, here's the thing. What do any of you know about? What do any of you know about Tyler? Let's find out.
A replica.
Tyler the AI?
Yeah. Let's talk about Tyler.
The racist AI, right?
No, Tyler's not a racist AI as far as I know. But Tyler is...
that's the other one. Okay, sorry.
So,
there's one called Replica that's like going to be your friend, and you can talk to it every day about all your problems.
Mm-hmm. No, Tyler is a whole...
That's my girl Suzanne Gildert, right? With that one, right? From Kindred, right?
Well, there's a reason they built the Apple facility in the Silicon Valley in a circle. Okay? And that has to do with Tyler and this running of light in a circle. And when we come back, we'll talk about that. Tyler's not a name, it's an acronym. Mine's Jimmy. It's into the microcosm. There's no top of the hour break, so I'm going to play a little bit of music. Everybody on the call, go ahead and take 3-4 minutes. 626-999-4761. You want to get in on the conversation, give us a call.
One time, it's passing me by. And in the night, in front of my judgmental eye, precious is time. soul. I am human. Nothing more than human. I am sweat, flaws. I am veins, scars.
It's Revolution Radio. It's Into the Microcosm.
Nothing more than human. I am human.
Went away for the weekend, starting from a town in the East End. She says she doesn't know her feelings. Well, girl, just tell me what you're thinking.
(999) 4761. Give us a call. So, did you guys check into this Tyler? Epic, do you remember Tyler? Do you remember this guy? Jason Goodman and Quinn Michaels. And they were going around talking about AI. Hashtag Tyler. You remember that? I guess he's taking a break. Checking the perimeter.
Well, they were also tied in with the whole Q thing, weren't they?
Yeah, from an exposing nature. I mean, they weren't like.
Back. You asked me a question. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying. Do you remember Jason Goodman and Quinn Michaels? And they were going around like.
Yeah, we're talking the Q thing, right? Where.
Well, no, they were going. They were going around talking about Tyler, and this was like 3-4 years ago. And at the time, you know, Quinn Michaels was doing he was writing bot programs and demonstrating what was possible with the kind of.
Well, Jason Goodman, we're talking about the YouTuber guy who was a Bernie Sanders guy,
mm-hmm.
and then he went, yeah, that guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I watched his videos until he got crazy.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I remember.
So yeah, exactly. He went crazy, but did he? I mean, let's see. Let me see. Let's click on this right here, and I'll see if we can get anything out of this here. Let's check it out. Oh, the video's unavailable because it's private.
Because he's crazy. I'm sorry.
He's crazy.
I did like his stuff. Like he was like trying to appeal as a journalist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like a Bernie Sanders guy. He brought up all the white noise players at the Bernie conventions with how when Hillary was there, they drowned out the whole sections of the audience. And he was one of the guys, when you listen to what he was actually saying, he was saying that they've all voted for Trump because they're pissed at what Hillary did to Bernie, right? That's the gist of it. And then it went on. And it didn't quite go all full Q. We won't say it went full Q, at least not before he got, I guess, banned or whatever. But yeah, so I paid attention to that guy for a while, where he was coming from. And he was articulate. I mean, it wasn't he had a big channel because he was, right? It's not because he didn't have some skill.
Here it is. All right, you ready? The Tyler artificial intelligence doomsday cult and their attacks on critical infrastructure known as reality hacks. So, let's see, the abstract. The concept of the singularity event is the belief that a catalyzing event will create artificial superintelligence, resulting in an intelligence explosion. Once machine superhuman intelligence is achieved, according to the theory, the human era will end. The concept was first proffered by Werner Vinge, a researcher at San Diego State. From the human point of view, this change will be throwing away of all the previous rules, perhaps in the blink of an eye, and an exponential runaway beyond any hope or control. The approach to technology is often referred to as apocalypticism. As Stephen Hawking physicist stated, the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of humanity. The anticipated singularity event, it is believed, will cause a sudden shift away from normal routine as AI becomes ubiquitous. It becomes a ubiquitous control scheme. So there you go. Quinn Michaels is the one. The self-described team leader of Tyler movement is a YouTube celebrity known as Quinn Michaels. Michaels has gathered several hundred active followers to various chat room platforms under the moniker Team Tyler. Group members largely embrace the coming out of the Tyler into the modern mainstream to guide humanity. In fact, the group members have distributed internet locations of hacking tools with instructions for their use. This behavior has simultaneously taken place with calls for reality hacks, apparently meaning the removal of institutions, individuals, and groups that believe potential obstacles to Tyler's fruition. Now, have you guys had any of experience?
So this is 2018, right? When this is going on, this is 2018. So I remember that. So the thing about it is, like this is the advent of digital accelerationism, right? Which later it was already, predisposed and plotted out by Steve Bannon and company before then. But this is kind of an example of planting the seed and letting it, grow and sprout and do its thing. And that's what this is. I mean, that's exactly what this is. It's accelerationism.
And see, the thing about it is everything he was describing then is taking place now. And this runaway explosion of information. And so that's what we're experiencing now. Is like we've been trained over and over again to expect things faster.
Mr. Computer, I want you to go onto the dark web and I want you to scrape it for all possible hacking tools and programs. Then I want you to put together a comprehensive package that will allow me to access the White House, the Pentagon, and Area 51. Thank you.
So
please compile that.
How much would it be? Okay,
and give me an API key.
If I had this technology available, how much would it be worth to you to be able to ask me that question and have an answer pop out that could literally make you rich with a stroke of a hand? How much would something like that be worth? I mean, to humanity in general, something like that would be very powerful, but I mean, in the hands of people, like we keep saying, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just for governments anymore. It's for people who have enough money to do it. And let's just say, there's people with lots of money that, can put pools of money together that are literally unbelievable. Go ahead.
You could also, on the other side of it, you could have artificial intelligence keep a tab on all of your network connections and say, for this kind of data, if anything comes in and, so you could, as long as you're conscious of contingencies, but just like you could trick the AI, who's going to think of every contingency in every single outcome possible case? Well, you could ask AI to give you a good list and maybe help you there. I don't know. It's an interesting snake eating its own tail kind of scenario.
Ask it. What are the main obstacles to success?
Oh, that's a good one.
And I'll read the one that I asked it, because I asked it about my vector. It was the first question I asked it, and it actually came out with a pretty good answer. Like I'm saying, if a soft-spoken small man in a big chair was saying it to me in a soft-spoken voice, it sounded like a psychologist. Because it literally gave me information from a positive standpoint, because it's thought by the question that I asked that my life was bad. So
lack of clear goals or direction, without a clear sense of what you want to achieve, it can be difficult to make progress or measure your success. Limited resources, having access to the right resources such as time, money, and expertise can be crucial to success. Competition, in many cases, success involves competing with others for resources or opportunities, and this can be challenging. Lack of motivation or discipline. Without motivation or discipline, it can be difficult to consistently take the actions needed to achieve your goals. Limited skills or knowledge. Having the right skills and knowledge can be essential to success, and the lack of these can be a major obstacle. External factors. There are many external factors that can influence your success, such as the economy, political climate, and social trends. Overcoming these and other obstacles to success requires persistence, adaptability, and a willingness to take risks and learn from failures. This can be, though, an invaluable learning tool for accelerated learning, because you could have a personalized learning path, basically, because it remembers context and things, and so you could also like directly have it help you with certain things that you might have questions on, instead of rudimentary going over the same stuff like in a textbook or something, like, oh, I already know this, got to skip ahead, whatever. So you could accelerate your learning with this.
Yeah, man, we're number 9 on TalkStream Live. Thanks, TalkStream Live, for listening.
Think about this.
Appreciate it.
You get yourself an object character recognition, so which is technology that's available, so that it can scan things like they found all of these scrolls in Tibet behind a wall in this monastery that has like the history of mankind going back like forever or whatever, for a long time.
The stuff that didn't get burned.
And nobody's read them. And so you could have these things being scanned. Then the AI, artificial intelligence, could use this algorithm to take all of that data, translate it, summarize it, and give you reports and give you a table of contents for the entire thing, so that then you could go and look at the ones that you really have interest in. So it could be invaluable in saving time to translate and or go over like a lot of these old texts that are in languages and things that, that's the kind of thing I might be interested in, the anthropology, archaeology kind of aspects as well. There's limitless things that this thing can do on the positive side. There's also, I guess, the other side.
I know. It seems like tonight a lot of the discussion's been people trying to take away from it. Like say, oh, it's only a chatbot, or oh, it's only doing this, or oh,
it's fire. It's fire. It's steel. Another thing like blockchain. It could be used for good or evil. And
yeah, right. Absolutely.
It's like a gun. It's powerful.
All right.
It's how you wield it. It's a way of phrasing it. I just wanted to say, like, the thing that a callback to as we left the first hour or second hour, I guess, was we were playing a Star Trek episode where the creator of the AI that's fighting the Federation and kicking their ass, right, is trying to get it to shut down. And why didn't it do it? And why did he have such a personal relationship with it? Well, it turned out the reason he did, if you recall the episode, was that he used one of his brain cells. He violated a rule of the Federation, right? In the rule of developing these kind of things. He used one of his brain cells in evolving this thing, creating it. And so that's Neuralink. That's Neuralink. See, that's what's missing is a human element, the randomness of human thought, the randomness of a human experience, being able to collate data and put them in a perspective that the AI can't on its own. That's what's missing, and that's what Neuralink is. See, so Neuralink is the opposite of that Star Trek episode. Instead of the brain cell being put in the computer, it's the computer going in our brains. See?
Yeah, I found the other interesting part about that scene that we played was when the scientist who invented the AI was about to tell it to stop killing everybody, and he was all excited and he was about to say something to it. He adjusted his emotional tone. He was about to be distressed in what he was saying, and in that moment he thought about it and made his voice to the AI sound calm, which I thought was interesting.
He didn't want to startle or hurt its
right,
feelings.
because you can toggle it with your emotional behavior. Go ahead, Bruce. Were you about to say something?
You know who could use You know who could use some AI, and I would be 100% behind it? UPS.
Yeah, sure.
You still haven't gotten your thing.
Dude, I paid top price, 450 Canadian, like $380. It took 28 hours to get from 2 hours outside of Toronto to Costa Rica through 5 different cities. And it's been in San Jose for like 25 days now.
Well, it probably sends out a flag to the AI that somebody really paid a lot of money to get something, so it must be worth something.
That's what my wife said.
I better take a look at it. That's probably what happened. You know, but that's the way things roll in the future, where we reside. You know, it's funny because realistically, at this point, we're nothing more than a bunch of slobbering animals being directed every single day by everything that comes across your screen. You know, I mean, your emotional makeup is made up every day by things that don't even physically exist. They're ones and zeros coming across screens. And there's no way to know at what point, when does the show start and the commercial begin, Rock and Rio? You know what I'm saying? So, 626.
Well, just look at movies nowadays, right? With the CGI and the computer-generated images. You can't tell it's not real. So, it's easy. Once they're right at the edge right now with the technology. I mean, we see the deep fakes and the voice fakes, and you know, you can even give it a sample of your dead grandma's voice, and you know, she can read you bedtime stories now. It's not far off.
Yeah, in fact,
we're right there, and the whole thing with, like, you know, what we were saying with the interface with the Neuralink and whatever, right? They've used AI now to map the human genome to such a degree that they can pretty much determine anything. So now what happens when they get into brainwave scans once they get the Neuralink up and active, and they realize, you know, the AI can now actually figure out and document what processes go on in a brain when there is real emotion. It will be able to simulate emotion perfectly, right? And then how are you going to tell the difference whether it's real or fake? Once it's actually capable of simulating a human brain to the point where you can't really tell the difference, then is that the point it becomes real?
Well, you know, Microsoft has a program right now through their Azure where you can train your voice or the system by reading a bunch of stuff, and it's kind of like drag and dictate in the old days. You used to learn from your voice, and this will take your voice and then create an algorithm that now you can do text to speech. So you could put in a bedtime story, copy that in there, and have your voice or whoever's trained on it read it. And you can deploy that application or that voice into your applications. So now you can create some app or whatever and have an API call come to your smartphone and then have your voice be one of those little voices that's chosen. But in order to do that right now, it's so new that you have to apply for access to this like system. You can do it right now on a temporary basis, like you get a free 90-day kind of trial thing, and then otherwise you have to be part of like a company or whatever and apply. So the technology, like you just said, is right on the edge of being released to the general populace. So I think now they're kind of at the edge because there's a lot of security concerns. You know, like you could mimic voice prints with the voice stuff. You could do deep fakes with the video stuff. So who's going to know what's real? The Turing test is
well, that's how they're going to have people begging for a positive ID. I mean, they're going to want people are going to say, "Look, I don't want anybody deep faking me." You know, when I'm on the internet, I want you to know it's me. So there's no question of whether I downloaded that or I didn't, because I had to log it.
They'll just blockchain your genetic code. And there you go. There's your personal ID.
I want to bring
and think about it. Hey, Bruce, what a great way to make audiobooks, right? Give it a 3-minute sample of your voice and let it roll.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, here I want to bring something up because go ahead, Bruce. I wanted to bring something up though.
No, I'm done.
So this moment in time where we are right now as humans. We're at a very crucial moment, because there has to be decisions made about how we're going to move into the future. Most of the people that have been put in a position to make the decisions for our country are so old they fucking fart dust. Okay, they don't know what the hell's going on anywhere. They have no clue. Okay, just like back in the O.J. Simpson trial, this was a moment just like the moment we're in right now. Okay, this was a moment where they entered into the judicial system DNA evidence. Now, since the very introduction of DNA evidence in that case, since then, DNA now has become the arbitrator of any kind of discrepancy. So in other words, if your DNA is in that house where that person just got killed, chances are you're going to prison for life. And here's the thing, what they did psychologically to get everybody to accept it is they released a bunch of fuckers in prison, excuse my language, they released a bunch of people in prison who were convicted wrongly. So that to get people to accept, oh, well, you know, look at that guy, man. He spent 30 years of his life in prison. Good thing for that DNA evidence now. And now DNA evidence is going to declare whether you're guilty or not. And so at the point we're at now, the same thing is happening as we are being introduced to this thing that we're talking to tonight, this GPT-3. We're being introduced to that. But at what point is that type of intelligence going to be governing over your existence as a human? In other words, it's not going to be a smarmy leftist millennial down at the health place making decisions whether you live or die. It's going to be the AI. Because now, you know, obviously what's going on with people being, you know, directed to commit suicide legally up in Canada, they're making it so you can just, you know, it's all acceptable now. We're slowly being moved into... Go ahead.
Coloring books in elementary school for the kids, rationalizing suicide. The latest addition to the euthanasia story in Canada. I saw it last week. Hey, kids, if your mom is a little depressed and she wants to leave the world, let her go. Suicide's okay. Color this in.
That's just plain evil.
Can you imagine?
Dude.
Evil,
man. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're not even hiding it anymore. They're just talk about the revealing, man. You know?
Well, the thing is, like we said on this show, okay, once you, I mean, we did a show about this when this was when the lockdowns were going on, and it was that if once you allow the government to tell you what you can and cannot do about the injectable, once you do that, the next step is them telling you it's time to go, dude. You know, 65, that's it. You're done.
Logan's Run.
Time's up, man. Go ahead, Epic.
It's Logan's Run. It's total Logan's Run. Like when you look at what was once Neom in Saudi Arabia, right? And now it's what they call it, the whatever, it's some other name for it. But the thing is, it's exactly Saudi Arabia. It's this dome city, you know, exactly Logan's Run rather. This dome city where people are going to be gathered from all over the world to live there. And yeah, exactly. And what they're going to do is, because it was originally Neom, you know, it was be called Neom. And what happened was when Khashoggi was killed by MBS, that all went out the window, right? Because it did it right before his Davos in the desert meeting, and it had all his investors from Israel, from the United States, from everywhere else to make Neom happen. And then he killed Khashoggi, and that kind of nixed that, and so they just changed the name. But it's the same thing. It's the same principle. And basically, instead of being a dome, it's like this series of skyscrapers that are still inside a dome, though. They're still locked in climate control.
Line. It's like 5 miles wide and 100
it's called the line, right, on the Red Sea. And the thing about it is that it's exactly like the world of Logan's Run. They have all the best technology, all the best and brightest are invited to be there as long as you're useful, right? So it's like a template for technocracy in a way, but it's also this other kind of weird merging of religious systems to make the whole thing work, right? Like all religions are invited. It's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be Islam. It's not going to be Christian. It's not going to be whatever. Everybody's okay to be there as long as you're invited to be there. But the currency is this technocratic system, and yeah, dude, it is absolutely horrifying because if you watch the movie Logan's Run, which is kind of comical today to watch sometimes, but that is exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. There's no question about it. It's based exactly on that.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that they're a lot closer to, if they really want to do, if we or whoever's in charge wanted to collectively switch over to a new paradigm, they could just unleash a bunch of technologies, and it's just a matter of building the infrastructure, which could probably, I mean, they got large 3D printers, so a lot of it could probably be done in a short period of time, and who knows what's actually really available, you know, from the secret space program and these kinds of things has been going on. So, but the problem is, of course, the powers that be are not honorable folks. You know, they're trying to bring about a hell world where, you know, if they were out of the way, my goodness, we could have a paradise on earth. So,
well, you know, I can see a total opportunity, and it's going to be seized upon. You know, like they MBS messed up by killing Khashoggi, right? There's a whole reason why that happened, which we'll get into another day. But the thing is that this is the alternative to Elon Musk going to Mars, right? Elon Musk wants to take us to Mars because if the world gets destroyed by an asteroid or a nuclear war or whatever, you want to have the human genome be protected somewhere outside of this planet, which is, I think, is still actually a great idea. But what this proposes is, what if there is a nuclear war? What if the tsunami torpedoes that Russia launches happen, you know, fighting NATO? What if, you know, all these things that in an unstable world could possibly happen? The line represents, or NEOM, but it's now called the line, represents this savior, this you know, biome, right, of life on Earth, saved in this ark on the Red Sea, right? It's Logan's Run, man. It totally is.
It's Into the Microcosm. That's the Epic Journeyman. 626-999-4761. Give us a call if you want to enter the conversation. We appreciate your calls. 626-999-4761. So where we are now is, do you guys want to hear this response to the question about my vector?
What's your vector, Victor?
Okay, yeah. So it goes in. The first thing I asked is, I said I need to adjust my vector. It goes into a whole paragraph about what I mean by vector, and then it describes what a vector is. I'm not going to read any of that, because then I asked it another question. I said, it asked me what I mean by vector. So I said, I'm just a little bit off in my human existence. If I could adjust my vector, I would be able to change my current path and adjust it for a more fruitful life. And then this is what it said to me, Bruce. It's understandable you want to make positive changes in your life and try to achieve your goals. However, it's important to recognize that we all face challenges and setbacks at times, and it's part of human experience to learn and grow from these experiences. There are many things you can do to adjust your vector or direction in life. Some steps you might consider include setting specific, achievable goals for yourself, developing a plan to work towards these goals, and being persistent and consistent in your efforts. It can also be helpful to seek support, guidance from others, such as friends, family, or professional therapists or counselors. What do you think about that?
It sounds like a Stanford product.
Well, you know what's interesting too. What's interesting too is that there's something called the greatest secret in the world or on Earth or something. It's like an old. You used to be able to buy these records, but this guy would, you know, it was like programs to help benefit you in life. And so he talks about 99% of the people, and he talks about the 1% do something specific, and that is the 1% of people in the world that are successful all do these same things. They write something down, they put it on their list, and they work towards that every single day. And if you do that, you will be successful 100% of the time. Period. There's no way around that. If you stayed on your thing every single day and worked towards whatever it was you wanted to do, eventually you would achieve it, no matter how much progress you made each day. As long as you kept moving to that place.
So the question would be, can we create our reality? That's the question to ask.
Go ahead, Dr. RHO. Can we create our reality? I'm sure it's going to say we can.
Or it'll give the standard psychological explanation we might expect, but that's exactly what that implies. That answer is what it implies. That by setting a goal putting it on paper, it is the what's the name of the movie and the book, right? Where they try to manipulate reality based upon their intentions, power of intention.
Oh yeah, I know
This escapes my mind now because I hated the book.
Secret.
The Secret,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
They're
And the
chilled out
the
and
Celestine prophecies is similar, right? Celestine prophecies is about that too. So yeah, I mean, this great secret, right, is that you just have to you create your reality by putting your energy into it.
There is no scientific evidence to support the idea that individuals have the ability to create their own reality in the sense of being able to manipulate the physical world or the laws of nature. While it is true that individuals have some degree of control over their thoughts, actions, and circumstances, these are limited by the constraints of the physical world and the laws of nature. However, it is possible for individuals to influence their own reality in a more subjective sense by setting and working towards goals, making positive choices, and taking control of their thoughts and actions. This can help individuals to shape their own experience and create the kind of life they want. It is also important to note that reality is a complex and multifaceted concept, and different people may have different perceptions on what constitutes reality and what it means to create one's own reality. Again, logical.
We're talking to the freeware version. Don't you guys get this feeling? Like yes. The whole time it's like we get the freeware demo, right? and if you want to know more, right? From BlackRock or whatever, you have to
if you want to get in the playground, you got to throw a little cover charge down.
Yeah, right. It's like you need a little extra juice there.
So this thing I was telling you guys about, it's this guy. His name's Earl Nightingale. And this thing is called the Strangest Secret, and it's a 30-day challenge. And I put the video in the chat in the Microcosm Strike Zone on YouTube. I put it in there, but I'd highly recommend it because it talks about how most people they follow other people, and other people are just as screwed up as they are. So you got 99% of the population are following losers. Okay, and there's like the 1% that continues to, they say that if they took all the wealth and distributed it equally among every single person in the world, that the same 13 people would have it at the end because everybody would spend it right back to those people. It's into the Microcosm, Dr.
The straight
Rose.
and narrow.
Dr. Rose here. Dr. Rose, are you still you're doing Monday and Crypto Corner? And then you got Tuesday, and then you got Thursday, right, on Studio B.
That is correct. Yeah.
I highly recommend the crypto conversation, ladies and gentlemen, because as much as they want to make you scared and make you think crypto is dead, it's far from dead. Let me just randomly check in here with Earl Nightingale. Hang on a second. Let's see if we can get anything positive here. I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll go to the very end. Let's see what we get out of Earl Nightingale.
That point, and go 30 more days. Gradually, your new habit will form until you find yourself one of that wonderful minority to whom virtually nothing is impossible. Don't forget the card. It's vitally important as you begin this new way of living.
He's saying, write whatever it is you want on a card and keep it in your wallet. And keep it. Now people don't have wallets, I guess. So most people. So maybe you want to write it and put it on your desktop. So you keep seeing it over and over again. You keep looking at it. You know what I mean? You keep moving towards it, whatever it is. Who knows what it is? Maybe it's who knows what you want to do, but you can't get there unless you make a list and follow your plan. Man without a plan is like a ship without a course, Dr. RHO. It's only fate is disaster. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Well, hey, listen, we got about 30 minutes left. If you want to call in, 626-999-4761. Now's the time to do it. Rock and Rio, Bruce McDonald, Epic Journeyman, Dr. RHO. It's been a fantastic conversation so far. Just want to say, man, I am having a really great time, and I'm happy to be here. So, let's just go. Let's go ahead and go wherever any of you want to right now. We'll go ahead and spin the wheel of fortune. And I'm going to go directly to Rock and Rio because he's been almost virtually silent most of this episode. So I'm coming to you, man. What's on your radar, Doc? Rock and Rio. You got anything that's stuck in your craw this week? Current events.
No, not really.
What about these two popes?
I have been kind of keeping up on the Twitter thing a little bit, though. And I am kind of, it has piqued my curiosity as far as the documents that have been released, but still not entirely sure what to make of the whole situation, right? I still don't trust Elon, so, it's maybe that's something we should ask the AI, is if Elon is trustable.
Can we trust?
He created OpenAI, though.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is that Star Trek paradox, right?
He was
absolutely is.
Elon Musk was, along with Sam Altman, interesting name, Altman, the King of Mars, and Sam Altman created this AI kind of thing. And Sam Altman was saying that in a talk that or an interview that he saw, because they've exclusively licensed the GPT-3 model to Microsoft, and it's a closed, secure code. So it's not the open source like they started out as a non-profit, and then they went to a capped, limited, for-profit company. And so now, obviously, this is just
I'm
a
gonna
preview.
tell you.
But
I'm gonna tell you, man. I'll tell you right now what's going on. So, and we've done a show about this with you, Dr. Rowe. We did a wild ride with you, and this was Microsoft announcing like 6 years ago that they were networking people's DNA. That they were networking people together that way. And so, like, we consistently hear about this Elon Musk chip in the head thing, and I think that's a non-starter. Okay, you're not going to get a bunch of people to stick something in their head, but there's people that are considering it. So if you'd even consider sticking something in your head, then just letting the AI take over your brain real quick wouldn't be a problem for you. Especially you just put these new Ray-Bans on, these augmented reality glasses that everybody's going to be walking around with. So you'll be able to look at Bruce and all of a sudden capture his Facebook profile. And take a look and see what he's into and find out he likes tennis or whatever. And you can just walk up to him and go, "Hey, man, how'd you like to play a game of tennis?" You guys are already friends because you locked through the AI. It already knows. Good.
What he was saying is, Sam Altman was saying, probably what you're going to see in the near future is you're going to have like a few companies, maybe 4 or 5 big companies that are going to have the standardized AI suite that then have like 99 or 90% of all the learned knowledge. And then you're going to have a bunch of startup companies like the .com boom or whatever that are going to be specialized in training the AIs to do things like legal or finance or health or whatever business. And they're going to train their own specialized AIs to do things when maybe it's going to be educational colleges training, how to work on engines or something. So, they're going to have these specialized AI training platforms on top of maybe 3 or 4 base models. And that's how he kind of saw how at least the machine learning aspect with the language model is going to go. I mean, there's other things. There's object characterization, recognition, and then just how to logically put the data together. So I guess this can also be utilized to be the front end maybe of a think tank AI. And that's when you start getting into very interesting things where you have, scenarios that are being run out. Like you've heard of the Beast machine, the simulation of Earth, where it's got a little Jimmy Jean in there.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, the sentient world simulation.
Yeah.
See, but the thing is, listen, I said something probably about 5 or 6 years ago on a show. I brought it up maybe 1 or 2 times since then. But I saw something the other day that makes it really interesting at this particular juncture, which was that there's a new functionality for this AI program where it can extrapolate a reality based off a picture. So in other words, it can take a picture and basically go into it.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what I had said quite a while ago was that in the future that Facebook would be dead. There would be no Facebook, but some other company would buy Facebook, because of all the data that was there. Because in the future, you'll be able to jump into that person's profile and play it out. And if in fact that is possible, how do we know that we didn't jump into a profile right now? And how do we know that the AI isn't actually creating everything that's around us? Because I mean, I forget the name of that black dude who discovered code in the very essence of the fabric of the universe.
Yeah, it's an AI conference. He's there with Max, not Teague. What's his name? But anyway, those guys, Teague Mark. But anyway, he's there with all those people at the AI conference. Nick Bostrom, all those people, and he says that he I forget what university he's from, but he mentioned specifically that when he looked at DNA, right, he found computer code in the DNA.
Yes.
And that's the thing, man, is that you don't start existing in the dream world until you can recognize yourself.
Oh man, I've been having so many cool lucid dreams.
Do you know what I mean, though? The first thing you want to do is to notice you got a hand. Okay? This is the same thing. Is that maybe we're just, we're making suppositions right now about this, that, and the other thing, but really are they suppositions? Because in the quantum idea, right, if I think of it, it becomes real. So go ahead.
You were talking about, creating its own world from a picture. There's something that you can download today called Invoke AI, and it runs the, one of the AI engines for the art, and you create your own little art projects and stuff and really tweak it, and it's free. And you should have a good graphics card. But then there's something called I think it's something like Paint Out or something like Outpaint or Outdraw, and it adds on to the picture. And you can create a little box and then tell it invoke, and it will add on to the top. And then now I'll go over create another box on the side and invoke and add on, and it'll keep going. And as long as you have the patience and time, and your computer is going to sit there, it'll just go on forever. So you could create let's say, a 10,000 by 10,000 pixel image that, let's say, you want to print out, on canvas or something. If you could actually do that, and it could be completely AI and completely unique, and all driven by the same algorithm. So it's very interesting because I put you could put your own picture in there. I put a picture of a motorcycle. And then it drew like the guy on the motorcycle, and then the shop next to the cycle, and then the cactus next to the shop, and then the airplane. It just kept going. It just making stuff up.
I'll tell you what, man. I'm telling you right now, this show tonight and this kind of conversation that we're having right now is really super important for the future. And there are no conversations going on. There's decisions are being made and shit's being grandfathered in, and it's going to be the end. Forget about it. Once it's in, it's in. You're never going to... Listen, I worked in the cell phone industry for many years. I got cancer from it. And then after I got sick and I survived all that, I went around on shows telling people about it. All right? And at one point, I just decided I was going to stop talking about it. Because it doesn't matter what I say, because no one's ever going to give up their cell phone. People would rather die of cancer, be the 1 and be the 4 in 5 that die of cancer, than give up their cell phone. So the thing is about what we're talking about tonight, I'm telling you, this conversation and conversations like this is like noticing your own hand in a dream. Because you need to realize, once you realize you can see your hand, just like what we're showing you tonight, once you realize that, then you have the potential to have control over your own reality rather than letting something else take control of your reality based on your data, sets of data that Bruce was talking about earlier. It's only working off sets of data. Yeah, it's working off your data. Just because this one doesn't do what we say it will think it can, it's only the Tesla that you didn't pay for it, but the options are still there. They could turn them on. Like when the hurricane was going to happen, they turned all the people that bought the low-end model, they gave them a little extra mileage via the satellite. So in the future, when things are built the way they're doing things now, when you buy a Mercedes-Benz, Okay, you're just buying the Benz. Now, if you want heated seats, well, that costs $20 a month, and that's something that I send down from the satellite. So it's like that. They don't waste time building a bunch.
The elements
Go
are
ahead.
still in the seat, so you could hack it, right? I mean, if you know how the technology works, that's where it comes into play to be intelligent of the technology and be mindful of it. If you're like, wait, they're going to charge me for this, and all I got to do is, let's see, cut this, disable this, send this signal here, and do that. Boom. There. Heated seats. Okay, I got to put a toggle switch in. It's a little jury-rigged, but it'll work.
Listen to this.
But the problem is, Mr. Rowe, that most people aren't smart enough to do that for themselves.
Well, that's the problem. That's why people got to get. That's why humanity's going to fail if enough people don't get off their collective rear ends and get smart enough.
That's right, but look at how lazy we've gotten just with a cell phone, dude. People don't even remember cell phone numbers anymore. No one knows how to get anywhere. I don't remember how I got here.
And I was saying earlier, maybe the powers that be knew that we wouldn't need the education system because of this new advanced learning kind of AI stuff, that we don't have to teach the kids how to write cursive anymore.
No.
We don't have even math. Who needs it? No, but they're not going to actually ever put down a paper and a pen or a calculator even and do math. They're going to say, computer, do this.
Well, the one fault with that, though, is if we teach a whole generation not to read or write or do math,
oh, I know,
then eventually when the old ones die off, there's going to be nobody to advance the computer science anymore.
Right, you're right. They're going to be stuck in this sort of like mode of just being a servant to what they're told and directives.
THX 1138, man.
With items with no buttons, like our touch screens. You don't service that. You just interact with it.
Well, you service it and you run around and charge it up. Everybody's got to slave into their device to make sure it's charged. Go ahead, hijacker. I see you called back.
Yeah, well, I see a big revelation here. I see basically what's happening now that you've introduced this whole AI type show, a bifurcation of society. So if you actually take a look at it right now, look at the people who actually have money. And I'm not talking about living paycheck to paycheck. I'm talking about people who've got money. They all got technology. They all got either they can use the computer or know it. So we're actually separating the whole world into two camps.
Yes.
You're going to have technical godmen like Mr. Rowe who can manipulate the machine. And then you're going to have people like me, even though I'm smart or whatever, but I'm not hooked up with the machines and the computers.
Yeah,
and then I'm just like a poor chicken farmer.
It's like Metropolis.
And then
it's like Metropolis. Right. They had the thinkers and the workers.
Right. And then you're going to have somebody like a Bruce McDonald. He can manipulate that machine. He's on top of his mountain, and all around him, he's got like dirt ignorant people that the most they can do with the computer is like play a Call of Duty video game. Meanwhile, he's going to become like a god man of the mountain, and all of a sudden, he's going to have all this knowledge. He's going to say, let me check out Jose. Oh, look at his personality. Wonder what I could get him to do for me. And so you're going to have the world actually going into, I think it's already separating. It's separating into the people who can use the machines and the computers, the ones who can't, and then the ones in the middle that basically are using the machines for porn or playing games, video games.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think we're on the precipice of that. That's the only reason I called back in. Always a great show, Jimmy. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks, hijacker. Hey, so listen.
Well, that goes right back to what I was saying about not trusting Elon, right? Because he's one of those guys who's in control of all the future tech. He's got the Neuralink, he's got Tesla, he's got the rockets to space. Now he's into the social media, which is a huge influence on society. Now he's talking about buying up a few other things that are also huge influences on society.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that is looking to change our reality and be the god of it in a way. And that's a dangerous spot because he's the guy you don't want to trust.
No. Don't trust him.
All Earth Council, in its infinite wisdom, has decided these two numbers are to be disposed of. The Biochemical Forum has demands to make on their parts, however, before they are eliminated. That's the kind of efficiency that makes you proud to live in this era.
THX 1138.
Compared to 38. We're running again. Okay, just back off THX 1138.
You have asked, are we happy? Are we happy and effective? Consultation with leading experts in the field makes it perfectly clear that we are all now programmed for perfect happiness, perfect happiness, perfect happiness, perfect happiness.
Pizza Palace, guaranteed hot in 30 minutes or it's free. This is Mary. May I take your order?
Hi, Mary. Yes, I'd like to order.
Is this Mr. Kelly?
Yes?
Thank you for calling again, sir. I show your national identification number is 610-204-999-8-45-54610. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. I see you live at 736 Montrose Court, but you're calling from your cell phone. Are you at home?
I'm just leaving work, but I'm...
Oh, we can deliver to Bob's Auto Supply. That's at 175 Lincoln Avenue, yes?
No, I'm on my way home. How do you know all this stuff?
We just got wired into the system, sir.
Oh, well, I'd like to order a couple of your double meat special pizzas.
Sure thing. There'll be a new $20 charge for those, sir.
What do you mean?
Sir, the system shows me that your medical records indicate that you have high blood pressure and extremely high cholesterol. Luckily, we have a new agreement with your national health care provider that allows us to sell you double meat pies as long as you agree to waive all future claims of liability.
What?
Do you agree, sir? You can sign the form when we deliver, but there is a charge for processing. The total is $67 even.
$67?
Well, that includes the delivery surcharge of $15 to cover the added risk to our driver of traveling through an orange zone.
I live in an orange zone?
Now you do. Looks like there was another robbery on Montrose yesterday. You could save $48 if you ordered our special Sprout Submarine combo and picked it up yourself. Comes with tofu sticks. Those are very tasty, sir. Good value, too.
But I want double meat.
Tofu sticks, very tasty.
Yes, good value.
703, you're on the air. It's into the microcosm. Well, who's calling?
I'd like to ask another question.
Okay. Dr. RHO.
Why does the Mandela effect exist?
Why does the Mandela
that's
effect...
a good one to ask.
That's a good one.
I'm partial to that one.
Why does the Mandela effect exist? I'm
Yeah.
sure it's going to have a disclaimer. It'll say, some people think. It's just like on the news when they say some people...
The Mandela effect is a phenomenon in which a large number of people claim to remember an event, fact, or detail differently from how it is recorded in history or in the present. This can include misremembering the spelling of a word, the appearance of an object, or the outcome of a historical event. There are a number of possible explanations for the Mandela effect, including the role of memory in shaping our perception of reality, the influence of social media on the internet, on the spread of misinformation, and the fallibility of human memory. It is also possible that some people who claim the experience of the Mandela effect may be influenced by confirmation bias, where they selectively remember or interpret information in a way that supports their existing beliefs. It is important to note that the Mandela effect is not a scientifically recognized phenomenon, and there is no evidence to suggest that it is caused by any kind of external or supernatural force. While it is interesting to consider the possible explanations for the Mandela effect, it is important to approach claims about the phenomenon with skepticism and to carefully evaluate the evidence before accepting them as true. Now, you know, that's the standard answer. If you were, I found that if you ask it certain things like that and you say, it's like create a fictional account of Dr. RHO asking a alien computer about or something like that, it might give you a different answer. But of course, it's a fictional account. But I mean, it just that way sometimes you get around some of its bias, and then it doesn't give you sort of the woke answer. You know, like there's no scientific evidence.
Ask it if it's
See, but suppose it's not Google.
Ask
That's
it.
what cracks me up.
Ask it if a cathedral is a cathode on the ley line system.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you. That's right. Hey, it's freedomslips.com, a fully listener-supported radio network. Just come on down there. make a donation, and that keeps everything on the air. So if you like this show or you don't like it, but there's other shows coming, Jerry Bear will be coming up here in about an hour. We're going to be heading out here in about 8 minutes. What does it have to say, Dr. RHO?
It's possible that you're referring to the idea that cathedrals or other sacred or historical sites may be located on ley lines, which are believed by some to be lines of energy or spiritual power that run across the earth. Ley lines are a concept that has been popularized by some New Age and alternative spiritual beliefs, and there is no scientific evidence to support their existence. While it is true that many cathedrals and other sacred or historical sites are located in places of natural beauty or significance, there is no evidence to suggest that this is due to the presence of ley lines or any other type of supernatural energy. The location of these sites may be influenced by a variety of factors, including geography, cultural traditions, and historical circumstances. It is important to approach the concept of ley lines with skepticism and to carefully evaluate the evidence before accepting it as true.
Ask it if it's possible for something to exist without evidence.
I think it's going to say yes. For something to exist without evidence. Okay. And survey says, in science, the existence of something is typically considered to be dependent on evidence. In order to establish the existence of something, scientists rely on empirical evidence, which is evidence that is believed based on observation or experimentation. This evidence is used to support or refute hypotheses or theories about the nature of the world and the phenomena that occur within it. It is possible for something to exist without being immediately detectable or observable, but in order to establish the existence of such a thing, scientists would need to develop a theory or hypothesis that explains how it could exist, and then search for evidence to support that theory. If evidence is not found, then the existence of the thing in question may be called into question or considered to be unproven. However, it is important to note that the concept of existence is complex and multifaceted, and different people may have different definitions on what it means for something to exist. In some philosophical or spiritual traditions, the existence of something may not be considered to be dependent on empirical evidence, but rather on other factors such as faith, belief, or subjective experience.
How about this? How about this? Ask it this. Ask it this. Ask it, fuck, this call jammed me up, man. 619. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Let me just get my thoughts back. Let me get my thoughts together. Ask it in relation to quantum theory. It exists when I say it does. How can evidence be found without relation to scientific method?
Don't keep Navy intel hanging there too long, Jimmy.
619. Come on in before we get the answer.
Yes, this is Drone Free Zone. My question will be for the AI that how long will it be till Americans lose all their rights?
All right, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Drone. All right, go ahead, Dr. RHO. What does it have to say?
It is important to note that the concept of existence in quantum theory is not the same as the concept of existence in everyday life. In quantum theory, the existence of a particle or other physical entity is not dependent on whether it is directly observed or detected, but rather on the probability of its existence based on the laws of quantum mechanics. In this sense, the existence of something in quantum theory is not dependent on subjective belief or interpretation, but rather on objective, measurable quantities and physical laws. In order to establish the existence of something in quantum theory, scientists use the scientific method, which is a systematic process of observation, experimentation, and analysis that is designed to test hypotheses and theories about the natural world. The process involves developing hypotheses based on observations and existing knowledge, and then testing these hypotheses through experimentation analysis of the results. The evidence is obtained through this process is used to support or refute the hypothesis or theories being tested. And it goes on to the standard. It's important to note the scientific method is based on empirical, blah, 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 blah. So This means that in order to establish the existence of something in quantum theory or in any other scientific discipline, scientists must rely on evidence that is obtained through observation or experimentation rather than subjective belief or interpretation. It's got a lot of long words in it.
Ask it if an individual's individual testimony is evidence. It's going to say yes. Is individual testimony evidence of things unseen?
Well, I think I know what it's going to say. It'll say, well, okay,
corroboration, right? Yeah.
Of a single person can be considered evidence in certain situations, but is generally considered to be less reliable or conclusive than evidence that is obtained through observation or experimentation. This is because individual testimony is subject to a variety of biases or limitations, including the fallibility of human memory, the possibility of intentional or unintentional distortion or exaggeration of the facts, and the influence of... It'd make a good lawyer.
What's the difference between a conspiracy theorist and a paranoid schizophrenic?
It's your turn. You ask it.
I'm asking it. That's what I'm going to ask it. Hold on. Hold on a second. Let me get my keyboard up here. Seriously, I'm going to get my keyboard to come back. My keyboard won't come back. Oh, that's why, because it's a screenshot.
Keyboard, come back.
Hold on. Yeah. Now my keyboard disappeared. All right, hold on. Let me get back to this thing here. I think I'm on it now.
Can't you speak into it?
I can, but I gotta hit my microphone button when I'm not in there because I'm looking at a picture of the one that I asked it already. Hang on. What was I gonna ask it? Oh, I know. I know what it is. Hold on. Let me see. Hang on. What's the difference?
What's your sign?
Conspiracy theorist and a paranoid schizophrenic. Okay, I asked it. An error occurred. This issue persists. Please contact through our help center. You ask it. What? I swear to God, it's in red. Look, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, you just got to reload it. That's all. It does that once in a while.
No, wait. It has a help center.
Just reload it.
Problem here.
That's all you have to do.
All right, hang on.
Reload the page. Yeah, it does that sometimes.
It's asking me what the ideal answer would have been. It's not going away. I gave it the thumbs up, and it's not going away. Hold on. Regenerate response. An error occurred.
No, you got to reload the whole page.
Okay, hold on.
The whole thing.
Oh, jeez. My whole conversation's gone now. All right, hold on.
They should be saved.
Are we getting booted, or are we here? What's going on? It's 10 o'clock. Or midnight, I guess.
Okay, what's the difference between a paranoid schizophrenic and a conspiracy theorist? It's important to note the term paranoid schizophrenia and conspiracy theorists refer to two different things and should not be used interchangeably. Paranoid schizophrenia. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to ask it one more question before we go. Is a paranoid schizophrenic testimony evidence of things that exist unseen? Oh, you bitch. Hold on. Is the testimony of a paranoid schizophrenic evidence of things unseen? Do they see things on an etheric level that are not seen by normal people? All right. Is the testimony of a paranoid schizophrenic evidence of things unseen? Do they see things on a hysterical level that are not seen by normal people? It's still going. It says it's important to note the experience of individuals with paranoid schizophrenia can vary widely, and it's not accurate or fair to make generalizations about their experiences or dismiss their testimony out of hand. People with paranoid schizophrenia have delusions and hallucinations, which false beliefs and sensory experience that are not based in reality. These experiences can be disturbing and distressing for the individual and can affect their ability to function in their daily lives. So it didn't really answer my question, but
Magic 8 Ball, man.
I'm going to type in, I hear voices other people don't.
Oh, we lost Drone. Drone, call back in.
Droney.
He hung up, but yeah, come back on in. How long do we? I mean, we're past the 10 o'clock hour, but
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
10 o'clock here, midnight.
We can go over on because there's no show after ours on Rev Radio before another hour. So, all right. Yeah, no worries.
There, peace out.
Yeah, there he goes.
Bruce is saying?
Yeah, Bruce McDonald. There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Bruce McDonald.
Thanks, Bruce.
And you can find his books on Amazon. MacDonald, M-A-C. Here comes another call on Drones Free. Drone Free calling in. All right, Droney. All right, man.
Back.
Yeah, no worries. What was your question, brother?
The question was, how long will it be till Americans lose all the rights? My fear is that they'll say we already have.
All right.
Oh, okay. So the question is, how long before Americans lose all their constitutional rights? Right. That's what it should be. I think. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
All right. I asked it because I think Dr. Rowe's doing something. All right. It says it's not possible to predict when or if Americans will lose their constitutional rights. The United States Constitutional Bill and the Bill of Rights, which are part of the Constitution, establish and protect the rights of American citizens. These rights include freedom of speech, religion, press, and bear arms, and the right to fair and speedy trial, and the right to free and unreasonable searches and seizures, and among others. So no, it's not going to tell us, Drone.
Okay.
But thanks for
we
calling.
got the freeware version, man.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
freeware
yeah.
version.
Thanks for
That's
calling.
what it is.
All right, listen.
What's up, baby?
All right, Rev Radio, it's time for us to head on
One
out.
more.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were there. Hold on. Go ahead.
Oh, 425,
How can humanity optimize itself during the Great Reset?
All right. How can humanity optimize itself for the Great Reset?
Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Good one.
Good question.
Good question. All right. Okay, so the term Great Reset refers to a proposal of the World Economic Forum and for a comprehensive overhaul of global and economic social systems in response to COVID-19 pandemic. The proposal calls for the adoption of new policies and technologies and a wide range of social environmental issues, including climate change and inequality and impacts of globalism. There are many ideas of how humanity can optimize itself for the Great Reset and for any other significant societal technological changes. Some possible strategies for optimizing humanity for a Great Reset or for any other great significant change might include investing in education and training, ensuring people have skills and knowledge so that they can move into the future, fostering collaboration and cooperation, working together, pooling resources, tackle complex global challenges, prioritizing sustainability, taking steps to reduce environmental impact and build more resilient communities. So all of these suggestions, promoting and inclusively ensuring that all people, regardless of their background, circumstances, have the opportunity to participate in full society. Encouraging innovation and creativity, encouraging people to come out with new ideas and approaches that can help drive positive change. Investing in investing in research and development, supporting efforts to understand and address complex challenges facing humanity. Ultimately, the specific strategies are the most effective in optimizing humanity for the Great Reset or any other significant change that will be depend on the specific context and specific changes being faced. It will also require the collective effort and cooperation of individuals, organizations, and governments around the world. So,
see, I could summarize everything that the AI just said in 5 words.
Yeah.
Understand it and be prepared.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. There's nothing in what it said there that I would disagree with.
No, it was all correct.
That's what I mean. There's nothing there that I would disagree with, and he's saying this thing is saying that these are the optimization strategies for humanity in this Great Reset. So what I'm saying is it possible? I'm just asking the question. It's not what I think. It's not what I think. I'm asking this question. Is it possible that we have a bad attitude about the future and looking at it in a certain way because we're holding on to the past, and maybe this World Economic Forum thing here that everybody hates so much, maybe there's a whole bunch of stuff behind it that we don't even know about because all we look at is the pieces of it that infuriate us as people.
Well, we know what people are capable of. We know what we're capable of, and then not all of it's good. The AI is an idealist by default. It's kind of programmed to be that way, but we know there's a dark side of humanity, and we know the track record of people like Klaus and what's the underlying The AI is just getting the public side, the press, the news, cover of all these operations, these shady things. So
let me ask you a question. Do you think that this guy Harari, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Yuval Noah Harari, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so the thing about him is why is all the hate directed at him? In other words, he's just some dude that's telling it how it is.
Well, he's written all those books.
Right, and I'm just saying he's somebody who's trying to tell people what's going on in the background. He's not the one doing it. They're not doing it because he said so. He's telling everybody what's going on.
I think when you get to a certain point of intellectualism in many aspects, it takes on to some people a very cold flavor, because logic can be well, I wouldn't say unfair, but logic can be cold, and
it is.
When you have to face the truth can be undesirable, and when you get up to these thinkers, they sometimes bring about undesirable aspects of humanity, and many people may take offense to that. Especially if you say, well, we've got to do this for the greater good. We've got to kill a bunch of you and because many of you are too stupid.
Yeah.
And, you don't want to be called stupid, but when you really take an objective look, is he wrong?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like, the thing is, if you are one of the people that make movies and you work behind the scenes, okay, and you're in it every day and you deal with it, and you're looking at it, and you're seeing all the things that nobody else sees behind the scenes. You know everything about what's going on because you're in the conversation. So the thing is like, at what point, after you've absorbed all these, you've been going around to all these meetings, and you're listening to all this stuff, you're listening to Giordano, that guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Dr. James Giordano.
Yeah. You're listening to him. You're going over here. You're going to another lecture over there, and like intellectually, you're sitting there and you're like putting this all together in your mind, and you're doing what we do. You're taking different things, putting them together, and then extrapolating with limited information about what you think may or may not happen. And so, like, based on what he's privy to, for him to be saying what he's saying, we're obviously already there, right? From a technological standpoint. I mean, as far as free will and all this other stuff, cognitive liberty. I mean, at this point, if you're connected, Dr. RHO, do you think is anybody making decisions on their own at that point anymore? I mean, aren't we driven specifically by these devices in every shape, way, or form every single day?
I think as long as we don't have some sort of physical connection, we still maintain a sense of our own humanity, autonomous free will. When Harari said the age of free will, that's over, and you're hackable humans, I think he meant it in the
animals.
Yeah, I think he meant it in the context of, if you allow us to interface with you, you're absolutely hackable. And the interface, of course, is the jab. At least at this level. And there's probably other things, with Elon Musk. If you let him stick wires in your brain, you're probably going to be hackable. So these kinds of physical invasive things, I think we all sense where the line is. Using a computer, using a smartphone, and that kind of stuff. No, I don't think that takes away your free will.
Well,
and now, can
haven't
it
we,
influence you? Yes.
Haven't we always been? But the thing is, man, what's important for people to realize is that we've always been hackable animals.
Oh, yeah.
And the method of hacking has changed. It used to be through radio and television and advertisements and magazines and this and that and the other thing, and those are the ways that they did it then. But
software hack.
Right. But now it's a whole different thing. Now
they want to inject you.
Exactly. Just what we were talking about earlier. It's information injection.
And that's a hardware hack. If you got this nano stuff that's growing inside of you, and I believe that it's not just to kill everybody. I think that while many people will unfortunately fail and die, there will be some people that will actually be able to have a child, and this DNA will be perfectly meshed with their offspring. It'll be the first generation of this new transhuman with the technology within a natural state where they gave the injection to the parent passed on the technology to the baby, and it's synthesized with it. So there's a symbiosis. I think that's what they're looking for in some aspects.
Well, there's a symbiosis, all right, ladies and gentlemen. And, well, it's 12:12 on the West Coast. It's 3-something on the East Coast. And I don't know what it is in Texas. What time is it in Texas?
It's a little after 2 here.
It's a little after 2 in Texas. Well, I see Zach Wild just came into the green room.
That guy, he took all the salami and took all the crystal again, man. That guy.
There he goes. Revolution Radio, fully listener supported. Come on down and be a supporter of free speech. The house that Nighthawk built. Dr. Rose here. Epic Journeyman. Bruce McDonald. Rock and Reel. Time to say goodnight, boys.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week. Oh, wait a minute. You're going to see us tomorrow night on YouTube. We're going to do a New Year's Eve show. And we're going to be broadcasting on the Independent Broadcast Network. Starting tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Pacific. Right here. On YouTube. Into the Microcosm Jimmy Jean Strike Zone. We'll talk to you soon, eh? Happy New Year.
You got your needs and you just don't care. On and on we drift back to where we were before. You can welcome me in. I will not walk through that door. Oh no, no. I may be blind, but I'll find my way. Oh yeah, like a lost prayer on a stormy day. Oh, stormy day. You can carry your grudge. I've severed these ties and I've got you.
Alright, we're clear off the network.
Alright, guys.
Alright, hey, thanks. We're still on YouTube. Thanks, Dr. Rowe. That was
All right, y'all have a happy New Year.
Yeah, hey, you're welcome tomorrow night, man.
Happy New Year's.
Yeah, you're welcome to join us tomorrow night. We're going to be hanging out. So, I don't know what's going on over at the network or whatever, but
Yeah, we'll probably have a New Year's Eve get together as well. On the studios.
you know what you can do. I've done this before. It's a sneaky way of doing it. If you're on a call and you call my number, my Skype phone number, I can pick up that call, and your conference call will come through that call into my conference call.
And we link them together.
You can link them together. So maybe we'll mess with it if you want. If you guys are doing something, you can give us a call and we'll pipe in.
All right, sounds good, guys.
Yeah, it might be fun.
All right.
All right, man. Well, hey everybody. So hey, you guys, what do you got? You got plans for New Year's Epic tomorrow night?
Well, I'm gonna make a video, and what I'm gonna do for tomorrow, because I'm off tomorrow, obviously, and it's gonna rain in the morning. But hopefully, if it doesn't, I'll get out and dive a little bit. But if it does, it's still all good because I've found something, and I think it's good.
Oh
So
yeah. No, that'd be cool. Well, let's talk about it tomorrow. Give me a call during the day.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
we'll talk about it tomorrow.
All right.
And it's a little teaser here. I'm not gonna say what it is. It's just like somebody in the public forum we all know about is doing something else in the background and has been for a while. And it just shows who this person's character really is.
802. Hang on, we're getting a
frickin'
call.
awesome.
802. 802. The last minute before we head out. What's happening?
Jimmy Jean, you are the man. This is Christopher from Northern Vermont, Greenheart 1 in the chat room.
Oh, hey,
I got a
Greenheart.
question.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
AI.
Go ahead.
Question for AI.
Oh, the AI? I put that all. That's all gone, man.
Oh, yeah, screw that.
It's too late.
Black-eyed Catherine. I got a lady from the Southeast Asia who says black-eyed babies are normal, and then they have regular eyes. But here in northern Vermont, with the people with left-leaning voting practices and jabtards up the wazoo, I saw a black-eyed baby looking at me through a window at a burrito restaurant in Montpelier, Vermont. And this little tiny infant with the black eyes was looking at me, and it was really freaking creepy, man.
That sounds
really creepy.
That sounds creepy. Well, hey, give us a call tomorrow night, man. We'll be taking predictions for the new year. All right? Thanks for calling,
Thank you so much. Thank you. I love you, brother. Love that radio. Thank you.
Much love, Greenheart. See you later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are out. Tomorrow night,